Like imagine Fuentes had Asmongold's viewership.
That would be marginally worse. But like if I could rate it on a scale,
I think it would be much worse.
Asmongold is ultra xenophobic, has no commitment to fact, plays into, in my opinion, one of the worst things right now that exists in our whole landscape, which is inability to discern truth from fiction. Doesn't understand that getting news from a feed that's being aggregated for you based on your reading preferences is the worst way ever to gather news.
He's somewhat moderating.
He's not moderating. Well, how is he moderating?
Also, he has no further ambition other than doling out right-wing slop.
Yeah, but in some ways that makes it even worse.
I am not a fan of you. I am a fan of Asmongold.
Deposing Maduro as a leader was not good because the president was acting unilaterally with unclear motivation, and the effects of that are the United States becomes less predictable, we destabilize the world order.
Who the cares?
If you're just here to give me, are you just here to describe why people think the way they do, or are you here to defend it?
Well, I am defending it. I'm saying that if
no. You're saying this is the current state of affairs.
I know that I have to embrace it and be an American now. I have to understand that like this is not how the old way things are going to be. This is how things are going to be going forward.
Why do you have to embrace it? Why isn't part of being an American pushing for change?
All right, here's our first guy. Honestly reckless. You're up.
You want to talk about Asmongold?
Yeah, go for it.
I think he's more or less harmless. If anything, I think there's even a chance he's doing us a favor. I think that leading up to 2024, the country has shifted more right. Things that are totally fine to say today were like unheard of 3 years ago. So somebody was going to be the big right-wing streamer, and I would much rather it be Asmongold than Fuentes, or I mean, I'm trying to think of who else it even could have been, but it could be somebody far more extreme. Asmongold doesn't have an ideology in my mind. He has feelings and reactions. He has extreme reactions to things based entirely on whatever he knows at the moment and whatever he's feeling at the moment.
I don't understand how any of this makes it good.
It doesn't make it good.
So what is that? You were saying better, but you mean it's like least bad or not as bad as it could have been? How is that a defense of anything?
It's a pragmatic defense.
So it's not a defense.
If you're looking for somebody to stand here and say, "Oh my God, I love Asmongold. The man's a genius." What are you talking about, Destiny? Like I can't do that because that's insane. Like who? But I can see him serving a function, and I can see.
Wait, what is the function?
Him being the function is to be somewhat more moderating of MAGA. Everything he says, even
how is he? But in terms of moderating,
right, can I swear? Is that fine?
What? Well, no, hold on, because you've talked.
Can I swear? Is that fine?
Oh, sorry.
Part of my vocabulary.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait, but I'm just saying that, like, wait. It seems like the defense here is that he's more moderate than like the worst person in the universe would have been, but like. He's carrying the line on all the MAGA stuff, basically verbatim. I mean, like, could it be worse? Sure, but like it's really, 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 really bad. I don't understand that it could be worse defense.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm here. It's bad. Shit's bad. So in a world this bad, we could have ended up with someone way worse than that. Like imagine Fuentes had Asmongold's viewership.
That would be marginally worse. But like, if I could rate it on a scale,
I think it would be much worse. Yeah, can I explain
Asmongold is ultra xenophobic, has no commitment to fact, plays into, in my opinion, one of the worst things right now that exists in our whole landscape, which is inability to discern truth from fiction. Doesn't understand that getting news from a feed that's being aggregated for you based on your reading preferences is the worst way ever to gather news. Is disseminating this information to 50, 70,000 people. I'm pretty sure he's the most popular political, I think even YouTuber on the internet right now. But you're like, well, he's not a full Nazi.
It's not just that he's not a full Nazi. It's that he's somewhat moderating.
He's not moderating. Well, how is he moderating?
Also, he has no further ambition other than doling out right-wing slop.
Yeah, but in some ways that makes it even worse. But when you say moderating, what do you mean by what is he moderating? He's radicalizing.
Okay, when it comes to the xenophobia, nothing. He's as far in the right wing camp as it gets in that area, but he's far more moderate when it comes to LGBT issues. Like I actually saw him once and it's your fault I even know who this guy is because I watch your streams and your videos, and then always an Asmongold video pops up after you. It's YouTube really thinks you and Asmongold have a lot in common.
Well, it could also be that Asmongold is the most popular political streamer and possibly YouTuber on the internet right now, right?
It is.
Okay. So, but I guess I don't understand when you say he's moderating. What What is he moderating?
Okay, once I saw his entire chat freak out in a video because they were talking about if one of your children was trans, and everyone was like, "Oh, cut them off, like get them what is it called, conversion therapy?" And he was like, "No, I'd use their preferred pronouns." He's like, I'd make sure like that it was real, and I'd really get them all the help they need. But like,
I don't know. So I don't know when he said this last, but aren't his most recent statements on this that like every single trans person necessarily has like mental illness or their parents like fucked them up?
This was like November.
Okay, well the last statements I heard on this were him saying that every single trans person is basically mentally ill, and not in like they need whatever kind of treatment, but like they're fucked in the brain, and their parents are all fucked in the brain. This is the last statements that I heard on this. Maybe we're worlds apart in terms of what we heard, but
yeah, we might be. And also, he's worlds apart in one. He's a lot like Trump, actually, himself in this way. Like, he seems to be a fan of whatever was thrown in front of him in the first 5 minutes.
Okay, here, let's back up for a second. Do you agree with what do you think are like? No, actually, in my opinion, the worst problem right now that we have as a country, as a planet, is we cannot tell like what is real and what is false. So
yes,
two people can say, two totally, okay. I feel like Asmongold not only also fails this test, I feel like he falls into the trap in the most layman-coded, like dumb way possible, in that he thinks he's being informed while he's scrolling on an algorithmically generated newsfeed. He's never reading articles. He's never finding information himself. He's never doing additional research. He's just reading what Elon Musk's robots put in front of him, and then he is regurgitating that to his audience.
Regurgitating it and signal boosting it. I completely agree.
So in that sense, so this is the thing. Wait. I don't understand what you keep. Well, imagine it was worse. Yeah, I guess there's probably somebody who would have been worse than Hitler being Hitler's job, but I'm never going to be like, well, it could have been 7 million or 8 million or 9 million Jews, right? Like, okay, I don't know what the point of that defense is. Like,
the point is actually, as somebody, my grandfather was a German Jew, and like maybe maybe 9 million actually would have been worse. I might not be sitting here on this lovely Saturday chatting with you. Like, it can make a difference. Sometimes it's a pragmatic argument. What
are we arguing for? What is the pragmatic argument though? You're not arguing. You're just saying that like he could be worse. That's not an argument. Like. Yeah, I mean, I think could always be worse,
my argument
right?
My argument is that it could be not just that it could be worse, but that in some ways he has a moderating effect.
He's not. How is he moderating?
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
He does. I've never seen him. I've seen him like cheer when boats are exploded, which is of course horrifying and fucked up. But I've never seen him say like, "Oh, we need to." I've never seen him do like any kind of, "We need to go into the Capitol." I don't know what he would have done on January 6th necessarily if today was turned around. He certainly would have defended it, but I don't think he would have been there promoting it.
Okay, here's when I think of moderating. This is what I think, okay? If Asmongold were gone, the media environment would strictly be better. That's what I think. So I don't see how it's moderating to say that his existence is...
Where do you think his audience would go?
I don't know. They either wouldn't be politically activated at all, which would probably be preferable.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think Asmongold brought in a ton of people into politics that wouldn't otherwise have been politically inclined?
I think that there were a lot of people. This is going to sound so fucking lame, but it's true. I think there were a lot of people that got politically activated, believe it or not because of anything actually happening in politics, but because they started putting like mid-girls in video games, and because the Star Wars movie sucked, and they put and they had a female lead. So, simple-minded people were like, oh, I guess all female-led Star Wars movies. I guess female women destroyed Star Wars. And
hold on, wait, you're aware? Wait. Okay, hold on. Are you 26 or 27?
I'm 44.
Okay. If you're older, you know that like the prequel sucked and not everybody became like a Nazi because of it, right?
We didn't have the internet back then.
When did the prequels come out?
People crazy.
Wait, hold on. Okay, the internet wasn't.
And don't tell me we had fucking Facebook or something, or like, MySpace. I was there.
From 99 to 2005. Hold on. Okay. Do you agree or disagree with this? If Asmongold, hold on, do you think Joe Rogan has gotten people into politics that weren't in politics previously?
Joe Rogan.
Or do you think everything is just an inevitability? It really doesn't matter what people watch. It doesn't matter where people go. They just...
Joe Rogan maybe, but in a weird way. Like, I started watching your streams inadvertently through watching Joe Rogan. I started watching earlier episodes of Joe Rogan during COVID, and then I watched what's his name, the very polite Russian kid, Lex
Friedman.
And yes, Lex Friedman. Sorry. And I saw your episode, and I was like, "Oh God, this is the guy I'm looking for. This guy makes fucking sense."
Okay, so if you didn't watch me through, hold on. Let me. Wait. Okay, hold on. I just need to. This conversation is.
I know. I'm very dynamic.
No. It's not dynamic. Okay, let me go back to my central point. If Asmongold didn't exist, those 50,000 viewers, you think on a scale from 0 to 100%, okay, and I'm not asking for like an exact, like 42.8, but approximately, what percentage of those people do you think would be as radical as they are now as a result of watching Asmongold? You think it would still be like 70+% of them would have just gone to Fuentes, or?
I think they would have gone, because he didn't have the audience he has now.
He's been like decently big. He's grown doing
not in the last 2 years since the primaries.
He's gotten a lot larger, especially for political stuff, but he's always been like a really good
he was a big
streamer,
good video game streamer,
a big streamer, not just video games, but like a big streamer.
I remember when you did that misgive call, and I remember thinking that he was the only one of them with a brain. Yeah. Agreed.
So if he would be gone, do you think that
what were his numbers?
Wait, if he were to be gone,
I have no idea what his numbers were before in the last.
They could have been up to 50K doing certain game stuff. He was a really big. He is still a really big streamer, obviously. Well, he's probably the largest.
Wait, I lost you for a second there.
Yeah, your mic's working. He's just.
All right, I would say the difference between whatever the difference is between, and maybe a little bit more between where he was in 2001 and today. I'd say that margin would all be.
Sure. I hear
watching
what I'm
either Fuentes or somebody new.
Or he's lagged right now.
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. If Asmongold wasn't streaming, I think that a large percentage, I would say 50% plus of his fans that are super politically activated now, well, I say politically activated, have strong political opinions at least, I think that like half of those people would just not be politically activated at all. They would just like watch other stuff or play video games or whatever. I think that he took a group of people that were not very politically astute or involved at all and made them way more political than they were before. And I don't think that had to be inevitable. I don't think that was always going to be the case.
I disagree, because there are all of these like gamer anti-woke groups. They're like, these are the people who went into Asmongold streams. Like, I don't know if you know Friday Night Tights.
No.
They do a thing on Friday. It's all like anti-woke video game stuff. They're or not video, mostly movies. They're what's it called? They have at least 15K on a Friday night.
Okay, I would say those are. I would say those people are bad too. Yeah,
yeah. No, I'm saying that's where the newer parts of his audience came from.
Okay, so what is your ballpark percentage of people of Asmongold that you think would still get into some kind of more radical space? Do you think it would be like over half of them, or over like 2/3 of them, or?
I think it'd be over half of them at least.
Okay,
maybe 2/3.
I disagree, but then even moving past that, if I were to say. What if instead of being, like, I guess, like a less horrible fucking option for these people, what if Asmongold was actually, like, a decent option? Like, couldn't he do so much better? Like, even if he was conservative, couldn't he at least, like, open an article and read, or do, like, and these are things that are easily within his power that...
Yes, and of course that would be... So here's the question: if it would be better, because it depends on what he's reading. The reason why I consider him harmless is because he's not starting packs. He has no political ambitions. He is gonna sit in that house for as long as people watch him, and he's gonna make slop and make money, and that is going to be his life. He's not going to get out.
Do you think the content you consume has no impact on anything you think?
No, of course it has an impact.
Okay, so I don't understand where this, like, well, he's not, like, he personally does not have political ambitions.
Then we get back to the part you don't like, the it could be worse part.
Okay, so then your primary defense for Asmongold is just that it could be worse. Is that...
I'd like to put it, I think I put it slightly more articulately than that, but...
Okay, the slightly more articulate version is, right now, there are substitution goods for Asmongold that if Asmongold didn't exist, the majority of his fan base would be consuming these other things that would make them even more radicalized. So Asmongold is the moderate option in a way. Okay, I guess I disagree. I think that one of the most disappointing facts of the past 5 years, I guess, maybe since COVID, is for some reason every single person thing has become political and has gotten like politically activated and motivated, and that less of this is probably preferable. That we don't need every single person that saw a girl whose boobs were too small in a video game to become like a new MAGA voter or something. Yeah, and I mean, I guess it doesn't sound to me like you disagree that Asmongold does an exceptionally terrible job at like everything he does. It's just you think that it could be worse.
Yeah, I think it could be worse, and I'll send you. I don't know. I guess I could DM it to you on Discord or the clip of him doing the trans thing, but with the defense of using preferred pronouns.
Well, I've heard people do the defense of preferred pronouns is boring because like some people will say that like, yeah, it should be illegal. Yeah, we need to ban all of it. Yeah, it's horrible and mental illness, but I'll respect the pronouns because I'll be nice in person. That's not really a strong position. I'm like, oh, well, this person's not the worst.
Mostly, I think I also have his chat recorded. It was because I remember seeing that being like, what am I watching? Because he actually like his chat was in like full revolt. They were like, you support mental illness, like, you know, these people, you know, they need to be locked up and like all sorts of other disgusting, insane shit. And you know, he was like, no, that's your family. He was talking about if he had a kid, how he would treat his kid. So
okay, well,
gotcha.
I think little things like that have an impact too. I feel like the right-wing slop is going to be out there. Somebody's going to be doing it, and I feel like
I understand what you're saying, but like it's so bad. Right? Like he was saying, like him saying things that like everybody needs to be deported, that walls needs to be executed, that like
he wants to deport American citizens, actual American citizens. It's crazy.
Do what?
He wants to deport actual American citizens when he talks about like
So the idea of like calling him a moderating voice, I think that if he were gone, but I guess we just factually disagree and neither of us really have a way to prove it. I think that if he was gone, I think that the overall political conversation would be healthier. I think it'd be better. He would be the space that he occupies and him speaking, it hurts the space. He has nothing of value and all he does is make things worse. I don't think he's holding off many people. If anything, my guess is he's probably funneled more people to the likes of like Fuentes than anything else and prevented them from watching any of his content. But again, we have no way to prove this. I mean, like he spoke, like you mentioned him being a moderating force on Fuentes fans. He's spoken favorably about Fuentes on his stream. Like, didn't he make a comment about how it's inevitable that one day they'll chat or something like that? I feel like I remember him saying this on stream.
It was all very vague. It was all like, oh, it's not I think he said it's not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like the reason why he's not more proactive with this stuff is because he's not very eloquent or conversational. Like I YouTube recommended Steak and Eggs to me once, where he actually he sits down with Tectone and Emaru and they like just, you know, chit chat about whatever's on their minds that day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a great conversationalist.
Sure.
You know, he's great at like, you know, just reacting and having huge reactions to, you know, things, questionably, you know, true things. But like, I don't know what he would say to Fuentes, you know, either in
yeah, but isn't that even like worse? So he would just bring him on maybe if they did chat and it would just be like a Fuentes jerk off session.
Yeah, that's probably what it would be. Which I think it says something that he hasn't done that yet.
Do you think it says something that he's comfortable saying to his audience that it's inevitable that he'll talk to Fuentes at some point, but he absolutely will never talk to me? Do you think it's kind of weird?
I think it's kind of weird, but also that's today. You know, in next week he could absolutely say, "Oh yeah, no," because I've heard him glaze you plenty of times.
Yeah, but
I don't even watch this guy glaze that much, and I've heard it.
But glazes me generally. Because I don't know why everybody gets sucked into this. The enemy of the enemy is my friend thing. It drives me fucking. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that can simultaneously hate multiple people that also hate each other. He gave me a lot of compliments in the past. One is because obviously I'm an awesome person, and all that, but also because I was fighting with Hassan that he was also fighting with.
Yes.
So it's like
I can't not see Hassan everywhere I go. It's just, he's just like the content gift that keeps on giving for you guys, isn't he?
Well, I guess. Well, for some people, I mean, I feel like
for Dan, yeah.
Sure. I feel like Asmongold is the bigger.
No, but I just mean all over the place, like people in totally separate corners of the internet.
Well, Hassan is like definitionally like a lolcow, right? He has absolutely no self-awareness.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's constantly being milked.
Yeah, but okay. Well, I mean, I feel like I got your point. Yeah.
You got
Anything
you got one
Reckless?
take?
You got any last words?
Jesus, man.
No, it was nice. It was nice to be on the stream.
Good talk.
Oh, are you
Have a good
getting the
one.
hoodies back in anytime with the little D? Because I was just in Thailand and I left mine at the hotel. I love that hoodie.
I don't know. Maybe someday.
Right.
Okay.
We should be, yeah. We'll see.
All right, this next one is an Asmon viewer. I'm bringing him up. Vacationers, you are muted, and welcome.
How's it going, Destiny?
Pretty good. How's it going?
Pretty good. I just want to first say that I'm not like the last guy. I'm not. He seemed to be a fan of you. Maybe not critical of Asmongold. I am not a fan of you. I am a fan of Asmongold.
Okay.
So what do you want to talk about exactly? So honestly, it kind of seems like you're kind of. I know people use this term a lot, but I feel like you do have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm sorry.
Why do you feel like I have Trump derangement
what you said
syndrome?
right when, even right when you started the stream, you said something about the Venezuela thing. I mean, I feel like that's one thing we could all agree is like obviously good. Happened in like an hour, and you somehow found a way to.
Do you think it's good then? Do you think that it's good that we deposed Saddam Hussein?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Was getting rid of Saddam? Or how can I ask how old you are? I'm just curious if you were like alive and during like the Iraq War. Okay. That's fine. I'm not trying to age. I was just curious because sometimes I feel like impressions of that might change based on age. But do you have like an impression of like the Iraq War or feelings about the Iraq War that the United States did, where we got rid of Saddam Hussein?
I have absolutely zero position on that whatsoever. Absolutely zero position.
Okay. Why do you think Trump well, here, let me propose a positive argument. So I would say that deposing Maduro as a leader was not good because the president was acting unilaterally with unclear motivation. And the effects of that are the United States becomes less predictable. We destabilize the world order. Everybody, especially South America, is going to be looking at us a little bit weird. And we have no guarantee about what comes next. There's a lot of indecision.
Who the fuck cares? There's a dictator who was running the country, sending drugs here, and now we just took over.
Should we take over every country that has somebody running the country who's a dictator?
They're killing Americans, yeah.
How many Americans has Maduro killed?
It's untraceable because it's so high. I would say in the millions if you include all of the... I mean, it depends. Every death from a drug is probably... Like, it's impossible to quantify.
Do you think we should invade and depose the leader of China, Xi Jinping, or Putin, the leader of Russia?
Oh.
Aren't those guys dictators?
They're not sending drugs here. There's kind of a difference.
Isn't one of the big talking points for South America is the precursors and everything for fentanyl became cheaply available? Wasn't that one of Trump's big reasons for hating China is because a lot of the fentanyl is coming from China through South America through to the United States?
I have no idea. Basically,
let's say if that was true, would you support us regime changing in China? If what I just said was true, and if Trump had said this over and over and over again?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
China is a 1.4 billion population country? What?
So we should just regime change the countries that we can get away with it really easily and quickly with?
Yeah. If it's a benefit for everybody. I mean, I don't know.
Don't you think that
illegal?
What?
He's the executive branch.
Yeah, but don't you think that creates like a bad and unstable world where nobody knows if they're about to be invaded by somebody else or not? Like it causes people to act with low trust around the world towards each other?
It's always been like that though.
Has it though? It hasn't really though, right?
Yeah.
It really isn't though, right? Like since the fall of the Soviet Union, it's not really generally just countries invaded. Yeah, it's gotten a lot better because people generally don't do that anymore, right? That's not what we do.
I would agree.
So it hasn't gotten better? Why would we make it go worse by invading people for no reason?
What are you talking about? Because there's a guy sending drugs to the country who's not even officially the leader. People are celebrating in Venezuela, which you admitted when you started the stream. What are you talking about?
So should we...
Look, I know you're way more informed than me on this. I'm willing to admit this. I'm not super online, but I use
my issue. Well, hold on. My issue. The issue that I have is that it's a very. Well, I understand what you're saying. It's a very short-sighted way of viewing the world. Like if we think there's a bad guy, like there can be things that there can be a bad thing, but there could be like processes and procedures to alleviate the bad thing, right? Like if you had a huge pain in your wrist you could get rid of that pain completely and unequivocally for the rest of your life by chopping your arm off, but you wouldn't do that, right? You'd say, well, we should go from like smallest fix to down like a continuum of fixing things, right? The police officer shows up at your house to, you know, serve a subpoena, and you get into a fight with a cop. That might escalate into you getting killed if you like literally start shooting at the cop or something, but that's the cop's not going to open fire immediately as soon as he comes to your door, right? You move down like a continuum of things. And I feel like for dealing with somebody like Maduro, especially when you're a huge country, especially when you got a ton of resources available to you, like this should be how you function. Does that make sense? Like you don't just go for the most nuclear thing right off the bat, because it creates an unbelievably unstable world where now everybody's looking at everybody like they're about to invade each other, and it makes it harder to get trade deals done. It makes it harder for intelligence cooperation. It makes it gunks the wheels up on literally everything.
Yeah, but if Biden would have done this, you would have celebrated it.
Why do you think that?
Based off the things that you say, celebrating deaths.
Wait, what is a thing that I celebrated Biden doing that you think is an analog to this, or that like I celebrated Biden doing, but I wouldn't have celebrated Trump doing?
Just the entire operation. The operation.
Wait, that was the most non-responsive thing in the world. What is a thing that I celebrated Biden doing?
Oh, that you already celebrated?
Or I'm curious, like what in your mind, what is foundational that has caused you to think that I would celebrate Biden doing this?
Because it feels like you apply like for the Venezuela thing, or not the Venezuela, the Somalia thing. It's like I expected you to honestly say how bad it was and everything, but you still found a way to defend it. Like not defend it, but go light on it.
What am I going light on?
The fraud seems like a pretty bad thing that you're kind of going pretty light on.
But I think
from what I've seen, I haven't seen too much of you talking about it.
Sure, I think fraud is bad. I think that when fraud exists, we should prosecute it.
That's not enough.
What?
That is not enough.
What's not enough?
Just saying it's bad. These people have to go. Not all.
Wait. What do you mean these people have to go? If you commit a crime...
Oh my God. Come on, that's not...
No, hold on. I'm not making it a race thing. Bro, I've been saying fucking the N-word and everything on the internet way before you've even been alive. I promise you, okay? Please don't... That shit doesn't work here, okay? That's on other libcuck streams, okay? What I'm saying, when I say these people, I'm saying, like, even if you've committed the crime or whatever, when you say these people have to go, you go to jail. You don't get deported for committing crimes in the United States of America.
Well, first of all, we don't know even if they're here legally, number one. Second of all, Asmongold said
wait. That's a totally different... Wait. If they're here illegally, then deport them.
If they're here illegally, they have to go.
Yes, but wait. Yeah. But that has nothing to do with a crime they've committed, right? If they're here illegally and you want to deport somebody for whatever, then fine. But that's totally unrelated to the crime thing. Now, if you find out they were here illegally while you... But also, even at that, I don't even know if you agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
Go back.
Do you really think they should?
You gotta go back. You gotta go back to your country. If you come here, you have to be on your best fucking behavior.
Hold on, I'm curious. Let me just test that for 2 seconds. If somebody came here and they lived here for 5 years illegally, they stole $100 million, and they were living like a king for 5 years in the United States with stolen taxpayer money, and then you found that out, you would just deport them?
Yeah.
Didn't they get
so?
Isn't that like the best deal in the world for them? Like they basically have no punishment, right? They came here, they got to live like a king, and they got to steal from American citizens, and they got all their fun shit, and now they just get deported back to their country. They don't even get jail time. They just go right home.
Somalia? Well, seize their assets first. That's what Asmongold...
Sure, you can seize their assets, but like still, they basically live for no punishment. They just go back to Somalia, which, as you would agree, right? They should have been there in the first place. It doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah, but... I don't know why this is what it goes back to what I was saying about you. You're not defending it, but you just... Like, why don't you think people that steal stuff... You think... So you're saying they should get put in a jail in America. That's what you're proposing?
We have a punishment for certain crimes in America, and I think they should be dealt out the punishment, yeah.
So if a Somalian came here legally, but they stole $100 million from taxpayers, should they get deported, yes or no? Legally. Even if they were born here.
Wait, legally?
Ha!
Oh, no, of course not. What do you mean? If they're American citizens, then no, you don't deport people who are American. Where would you deport them to?
Okay, yeah. Or I think kind of highlights your position, because Asmongold is basically suggesting that their assets should be seized and they should be deported back to where...
Wait, do you think you should deport somebody who's an American citizen?
If they moved here and stole hundreds of... I mean, I don't know if that's... I don't know about that. I mean, that's more of a Asmon. I don't agree with everything Asmongold says.
Sure.
I agree with most of it. I think he's a good news source.
Okay. With the Somali thing in particular, so when I say fraud is bad, you cut me off. I understand, it's fine. But I think it's bad, and it should also be investigated, prosecuted. People should be held accountable, right? I think my issue is that in the Biden admin, this was happening, right? The big cases that everybody wants to cite to take credit for as hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud or whatever, the feeding your children or feeding our future or whatever, like that was found under the Biden admin. There were like 90 people prosecuted for this crime. Like that was a good thing.
Good.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
They
yeah.
should have went way fucking harder.
Well, what do you mean? How do you know? What do you mean they should have went harder? What does that even mean?
They should have went harder against the organization.
Well, but you don't know how hard they went. You don't know if there was more. You have no. You're just that's like just a totally baseless statement. How do you know?
Obvious. What? We're still doing it today. What do you mean?
Who's doing what?
Did you watch Nick Shirley's video?
Yeah, it was a horrible video.
But why not just address the actual claims that are being made instead of focusing on
Sure, give me one factual claim that you think that video made.
One factual claim that the video made.
Yeah.
Well, that there's fraud going on in Somalia.
Okay. What part of the video demonstrated? What part of the video demonstrated fraud?
Oh, yeah, the part where they went to the daycares. And had the paperwork.
Okay, that paperwork that you're talking about, you have no idea where those numbers come from, right? I don't. I couldn't find a source for any of it.
They didn't go in on that, but
don't you think wait, isn't that wait, no, it's not the technicality of it. The claim was that one, they're getting huge amounts of money from the government, but there wasn't any proof of that ever in this video, right?
You're denying that? You don't think they got the money?
I don't know. Did they? Wait. Was there proof of it in the video?
There's proof of it from the prosecutions under the Biden administration.
No, there's not. The Biden administration didn't go after daycares. They went after a charity organization.
Oh, so you think that so you think that the whole thing was a lie?
I think that the video was bad. Yes.
No. I'm asking about if you actually believe that there is zero fraud going on at daycares.
You're asking me a fundamentally different question there. There might be fraud going on, but if there is, the video didn't demonstrate any of it. It failed tremendously to demonstrate anything at all. Because even this very first thing you're bringing up, which I agree is important, and it would have been nice if they actually gave some context for it, we have no idea where any of those numbers came from. There was no proof of that. There was no source of any of it. We have no. It was just a crazy dude who works at some construction company waving around a packet of papers.
I mean,
isn't that a problem?
Yes, but
what do you mean you guess? What did I just? Isn't what I said exactly correct? What I just said. Isn't that exactly what happened? What do you mean you guess?
I mean, you can criticize the video, but the actual substance is what I'm
talking about. Well, wait, how can you get to the substance if it's not being presented?
Because it led to investigations.
No, it's leading to ICE showing
video
up.
Led to it, not the,
no, there's no. What do you mean investigations of this current DOJ? We don't know if anything's going to come from that. You can't speak to any of that. You could be agnostic on it now if you want to. Well, I don't know. We'll see where the investigations go. But that's not the statement you just made to me. You said that there was first.
What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure they just shut down all funding to all or. I don't know this.
Yeah, they made the announcement they were going to, but that's not an investigation. That's just retributive action. They're not doing this because they found fraud. They're just doing it because they're reactionary.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of how government works. That's kind of.
Well, let's say that they don't find any fraud then. Wouldn't that be a really bad thing?
The argument you made with Biden waiting 4 years to pass the border bill?
No, wait, hold on. Wouldn't it be really bad if they shut down all that funding and then they finish their investigation and they don't find any fraud?
I mean, yeah, but it's obvious that there is fraud.
Okay, so then if they don't find any fraud, you're gonna say wait. If they don't find any fraud, then you're gonna say, yeah, that was a huge mistake and they never should have done that.
That would be horrible if there was no fraud, but I'm pretty sure it's obvious there is.
You're pretty sure it's obvious, but you've seen no evidence for it.
Made everything up.
Who?
I think the guy that he was with just had what do you think those papers were? You think they were just
bullshit? Yes.
Google Doc and just.
Yeah.
I think he literally just created them.
Yep.
The whole thing was.
Yeah.
People lying on the internet?
You know why I know? You know why I actually know that to be the case? You know why I know?
Wait, I need to understand. So you think he literally went in a Google sheet and just wrote fake numbers down?
Not necessarily fake, but pulled them from bad places and knew that it was bullshit. Yes. But wait, do you understand?
Always, you think those daycares are not fraud? Or actually, sorry.
Wait, hold on, wait. This is the easiest thing in the world because if those numbers were real and he had a good source for them, you don't think that would have been plastered all over the video? He would have said, go to this website and look this up here. Look, you can see all these numbers here. Look at all this stuff that you can look up.
Somebody who watches YouTube all the time, people don't actually care about seeing the actual sources. They just want to see the actual video that's being made for entertainment. But that's an entire...
For entertainment? Oh, so then it wasn't journalism. It wasn't anything good. It was literally just a LOL entertaining video then.
Journalism? No, it's not really... Well, I mean...
So it was an entertaining video that got all the state funding pulled from daycares and feeding centers and everything else, and that's epic and based? That makes it even worse, doesn't it?
If it's not true, obviously, I think everyone would agree.
Well, but now you're saying it was just an entertainment piece, and it's not even journalism. So what do you mean? Is why would we start any investigation off the back of an entertainment piece that?
I've never heard the argument be made that all of this is fake. Most people, like the guy's video, the guy I think his name's Atrioc. He admitted that there was at least fraud going on.
Yeah, but Atriac's video was also dog shit, but that's because nobody watched this video or has any understanding of how to put together a coherent argument. But you haven't refuted a single point I've said. You have no proof. I'll give you a couple minutes right now if you want to look. You don't know where any of that guy's numbers came from, right?
Oh, but I mean, if you really think, do you think there's zero fraud? All those daycares.
You're not. That's a different question of whether or not there's zero fraud.
Well, it's not.
It is. I'm sure there's some fraud. There's fraud in everything. I'm sure there's some fraud.
Oh, okay. So now we got to the at least. Now we're okay. Good. Cool.
But if you thought there was fraud, this video is even worse because now it's taking any attention away from actual fraud, and now it's making people waste their time looking at fake fraud or bullshit.
Just said there was obviously some fraud.
I didn't say it was obvious. I said there's probably, statistically speaking, I'm sure there is, but this video didn't expose any of it. And now we're all talking about these stupid videos, and we're not doing actual fraud investigations.
I mean, it just happened. You can't say there's no investigations. I guarantee there will be some groundbreaking.
Yeah, like all the other groundbreaking stuff they've done. Like Doge was groundbreaking.
He needs to go further.
Like
Doge
getting the deficit cut was groundbreaking. Like no new wars was groundbreaking. Like what do you mean? This administration has broken every single fucking promise. You're on the mountain of I fell for it again awards right now. Just what I said. What do you mean? We haven't had the mass deportations. We didn't fix any of the crime in any of the states. The National Guard just got pulled back from every place that they said. What do you mean? Like nothing happened.
Dude, my dude. We're a year in, less than a year in. First of all, second of all,
and we're still talking about Biden every single fucking time.
Further.
Yeah. So even by your own admission, he hasn't done enough because he hasn't done anything, right?
I wouldn't vote for him again.
Okay, then you agree with me. He hasn't done fuck all. So I don't know why you expect there to come anything from these investigations.
The investigations. Look, I mean, it's obvious there's fraud. I don't think that's really an
argument. Why you keep saying that with no proof, though, right? You know that's like a low IQ position, right?
Low IQ position.
To keep saying that it's obvious there's a thing, but I have no proof of the thing. That's like a super standard, low IQ, 75 IQ take, right? Like inferior genetic take. Like I can't, this thing must be true because I think it's true and I have no proof for it, but I think it's true, right?
You can call it low IQ, but if we arrive at the correct outcome, then it's not really low IQ. It's just
that's an even lower IQ take, right? Do you know how to do exponents? Like if I say how do you calculate an exponent and you multiply the exponent times the number and you say, well, 2 times 2 is 4, so 2 squared is 4, and that's how that works. Just because you get the right answer doesn't mean you used a good process, right?
Challenge you to look at the graph that Asmongold made. You fall under the middle category where you look at data and research for everything. I fall under all the way to the end where we say it's obvious. Yeah,
that's called the low IQ position, right? Like you don't need IQ to do things that are obvious and self-evident. That's just like an instinctual. That's like a low IQ position. It's okay if you want to have the low IQ position. That's fine, but I don't know why you would brag about it. I don't know why you think it would be good.
Why are you defending?
Why am I defending what? High IQ positions?
How is that a low IQ position?
How is it a low IQ position to say I just go by my gut?
At the correct outcome?
Because you don't arrive at the correct outcome consistently if you just rely on your gut, even if you might get it right every now and then.
What Asmongold says that isn't true?
His claims are so vacuous, it's hard to say if there's a truth value that you can assign to them at all. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what... I mean, everything about the Nick Shirley video was false. Obviously, he has no ability to decipher news critically, right? I mean, you yourself...
What about the people that have been coming illegally since Biden's term?
What about them?
People like you downplaying it or outright denying it?
I mean, I think... I don't know who's denying it. I think that the issue is that...
You were. Hold on. You were.
I deny that people came here illegally?
Yeah, you denied the numbers, but I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
Well, wait, hold on, I do. What numbers do you believe? Just curious.
What are you asking me? What numbers do I believe?
When you say I'm denying the numbers, what numbers do I deny? Yeah, how many people do you think came in illegally under Biden?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a range because
sure, that's fine.
I don't have it on the back of my I have a general range. I believe it's between. It's kind of a big range, but I don't know if that's fine. I believe it's between 15 and 40 million.
Okay. Do you understand that would double the illegal immigrant population in the United States? Isn't it kind of weird?
The illegal? Maybe.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird that you guys are saying this was the biggest problem in the entire United States, and then as soon as Trump is elected, you guys basically stop talking about it, and there are no deportations. Isn't that kind of weird?
Border crossings went down to 0.
Okay.
Oh, you mean people that are in here?
Yes, that's why I asked how many people you think came here.
What are you talking about? Everybody's talking about. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nobody's talking about. Nobody seems to care that Trump is not deporting people that much.
Yeah, everybody does. Have you watched any of Asmongold's streams where he's saying that he won't vote for Vance in 2028, or is that just being ignored?
I don't know what Vance has to do with this, but okay. So I guess then you admit, I guess then that
nominee. It's obvious.
What?
Vance is the next Republican nominee, so if they're not going to follow through on it, then he's not going to get elected by us.
I don't think we know if that's true at all. That's 3 years away.
Yeah. Also, how is it if well, I'm not going to jump to that. So okay, so then I guess Trump has failed completely on the illegal immigration thing besides shutting down the border.
I mean, by your own admission, the border crossings thing was pretty good.
I don't think I've said by my own admission. I don't know why. I don't think Trump's the problem I have with Trump. I guess is the same problem
there wasn't a policy that was passed. You said that the problem is that there wasn't a policy that was passed, but it is a good thing that the...
Well, I think there is a problem that Trump doesn't seem to know that there's like a Congress that can pass laws and everything, you know, right? Like, wouldn't it be better to have an actual immigration like piece of legislation that would stand once he's out of office rather than just executive orders that can be rescinded as soon as he's gone?
Yeah, but you could apply that to the prior president as well.
No, because Biden was trying to pass legislation to fix the border, right?
The third year, though.
Yeah?
That does not count.
Well, the first year he came in, he had to clean up the COVID mess. The second and third year, you had October 7th, and you had the fucking Russia-Ukraine shit, right? I mean, like, there's a lot going on, right?
You do multiple stuff at once.
You can, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah, and what happened to that bill that he tried to pass?
Trump told the Republicans not to vote for it.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, so it must not have been a big problem. That to me sounds like not a big problem. If we're saying that, well, actually, we can just put this whole thing on hold for 6 months until Trump gets elected, that tells me, oh, I guess it wasn't that big of a problem then if you just want to run on it as an election issue, and you can indefinitely put off actually solving it.
Hold on, did you say it's not a big problem?
If there was legislation that was on the table to fix the problem, and then Trump says, nah, don't pass that, we want to keep this issue open for the election, that seems to me to be not a big problem then if you can keep it open. It makes sense to me, right?
Wait, that's just because Trump is Trump. If there's 15 billion people coming...
That's because Trump is Trump? No, he was still voted for. So the people that voted for him must not have felt like it was a big problem because they still supported him doing that. It's not like Republicans got mad at him. It's not like the voters got mad at him for that. They were like, yeah, own the libs. That was their position.
Well, I believe there was another reason for shutting it down. I'm pretty sure there was aid to Ukraine in the bill, but that's a whole other conversation.
That was eventually taken off of it, though, and they still didn't pass it. That was the excuse they used initially, but then even presented separately, Trump still didn't want it passed.
It still doesn't matter because it was 3 years after he waited 3 years.
I don't understand how you think this is an argument for anything, but okay. It's not like it was horrible.
Wait, it's the end of his presidency.
What
are you talking about? I have not heard a single. I have actually not heard a single defense for that. He waited 3 years. Not one.
Well, I mean, the defense is that there was a whole bunch of other shit going on. Number one, and number two, I don't think that we'd ever seen an abuse of the asylum system in the United States like that in all of U.S. history, basically. So I guess he could have been more aggressive. I think it's fair to criticize Biden for not being more aggressive on asylum-related stuff. I think that's a fair criticism. But I mean, clearly it was never as big a problem as Republicans pretended it was because they didn't care to kill the bill about it immediately.
Not a clear criticism. That's a disqualifying thing. What?
How is it a disqualifying thing?
Immediately disqualifying from ever being allowed to run for office again. It is.
If that's a disqualifying thing, then there's like 50 things that Trump has done that is immediately disqualifying.
Give me an example.
Sure, in what domain?
Give me some.
Okay, how about negotiating the surrender? How about negotiating the unilateral withdrawal of the United States from Afghanistan without even involving our partners, the Afghanistan government, in that negotiation with the Taliban?
Biden immediately cancels that out. So
what?
That's not an argument.
You what?
Biden cancels that out. What do you mean what?
How does Biden cancel that out? No, I'm just talking about Trump right now.
Yeah, but you talked about the pullout of Afghanistan.
I've said the negotiated surrender of Afghanistan. When Donald Trump negotiated with the Taliban to give basically the entire country back to them without even involving the Afghanistan government, that would be a disqualifying thing in my opinion. That's just so.
I mean, that's a foreign thing.
That's why I asked you what domain. If you want, we can focus domestic.
Okay, yeah, sure, domestic.
Okay, trying to steal the 2020 election and denying the results of the 2020 election.
Oh
Easily disqualifying.
Holy shit. That's your argument?
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I don't even know how I can respond to that.
Yeah, because it's disqualifying. Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing that's a very slippery slope.
No, it's not.
Please. Okay, what is your position? Or that's a whole nother thing.
Well, sure. Like, very basically, Trump had 7 fake electoral votes made from from the 7 target states.
Immediately no.
Really? How not?
No, it was not. 2 of them were authorized by state legislatures.
Doesn't matter. They needed the certificate of ascertainment from the governors in each of those states, and they didn't have them. They were illegitimate electoral votes.
2 of them were authorized, though.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. Look it up.
I
believe Pennsylvania.
No.
But two of them were the Pennsylvania. There was like a.
No.
It was if.
No. Kenneth Chesbrough floated a theory that it might be legal in some states, maybe, if you could just get in the building and fill out the electoral slate or whatever, that it might be okay. None of them had certificates of ascertainment from the governors. None of these were authorized by the state legislatures. All of them were illegally done.
It was a legal theory. I mean, that's a whole nother. But there were also
novel it was illegal.
That were brought against Trump.
No, it was illegal. Don't say novel legal theory, because you can excuse any behavior ever if you call it novel legal theory. He tried to steal the election. The people in the state voted one way.
Using novel legal theories.
What novel legal theory would allow you to change the vote of a state?
No. The legal theory was challenging the constitutionality of the Electoral Count Act. I believe. That was the legal theory.
No. The legal theory was, we're going to break the law. And we're going to call it constitutional.
Not an argument.
What do you mean it's not an argument?
What about all the memos?
The Electoral Count Act is a law that they were going to break. When you break a law, the way you break the law is say, well, I think it's unconstitutional. That's called breaking the law. You fell for the conservative slop when they say, oh no, we think it's unconstitutional. That's a code word for we're going to break the law. That's what that means.
It's a legal theory, is it not?
By breaking the law.
That's not a legal theory.
Because legal theory is a vacuous, meaningless statement, meaning you can do anything.
Oh. Because there's boundaries, obviously.
Really? Because they were going to break the law. What was the boundary on their theory that they could violate the ECA?
Well, because they thought that it was a valid legal theory at the time.
No, they didn't.
All their
no, they didn't.
They believed that there was fraud.
It doesn't matter. Even if there was fraud,
no, they didn't believe that there was fraud.
No, they didn't. Also, he didn't. He knew there was no fraud.
He said they, not him. There's no evidence for either way. I mean, that's another thing that you could go down on.
No, every single person that he tasked with investigating voter fraud all came back and told him the same answer, that there was none to be found. A lot of the voter fraud that he...
Come on.
So he's retarded? That's your defense? Your defense of Trump is he's a fucking retard?
No, not a retard, but, thinks things are his way. Tries to get his way.
Sounds like a disqualifying thing if that's the case, right? Probably wouldn't want that person leading a country,
if people are going to tell Trump something, you think he's going to listen?
Okay, if no, then fine. Then he shouldn't be president, right? You admit that a person like that should never be president, at least, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like you could apply that to every single person ever.
No, hold on. If there's a person who literally can't take advice from people, if there's a person who can't take advice from people, that person probably should never be president. Right?
Can't take advice from people. That's kind of a broad generalization.
If a person can't even take advice from people, that person probably shouldn't be president, right?
I would disagree.
Really? So the president of the United States...
What if Hitler gave him advice, dude? What are you talking about?
You said he can't take advice from anybody, apparently. Why should the president even have...
people that he agrees with?
That's not called taking advice. That's called circle jerking.
Advice doesn't just have to be from people you disagree with, dude.
You get advice from... Why do you think you get advice from people? Wait. You think you get advice from people to just reinforce your own opinions?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes.
Then why have a cabinet or why have any of that shit at all? Why not just run the... He could run the whole office himself, I guess, right?
Fucking based, but he'll never do that. I mean, he'd probably be more effective at getting things done.
Okay.
That's another conversation.
Okay.
I don't think anybody would want to get into.
Final thoughts for us?
Okay, cool. No, I don't think so.
All right. Have a good one, vacationers. Thank you.
Cool.
All right. bringing up the next one.
The problem with some of these is that like it really is impossible to decipher. Like everyone in chat just spams rage bait or whatever, but you fucking retards also spam like AI every single time you see anything. Half you guys thought that video that I made was fucking AI because it was a pre-recorded content or whatever. But the problem is that like the actual positions of like a MAGA person, I think, are indistinguishable from a satirized position of like a retard. We're doing the trial today for the shooting the air things, okay?
Yeah, we'll do it after all.
You understand? Like, can Trump just do anything?
I think these people would say yes.
Can Trump do it? Why? Well, because we kidnapped a world leader today. No declaration of war. No Senate judiciary or no Intel committee. No nothing. No signing off. We just did a thing. They didn't tell
anybody in Congress either.
Yeah, we just did a thing. And like, if he's not impeached from this, I don't even know what kind of a country or what. I don't know.
The military went along with it. They did it.
Well, the military
you're supposed to refuse illegal orders.
Yeah, no? But this in terms of like legality gets, I think, weird here. I don't think
he has 90 days, right? Technically.
That and the problem is that like the president is at his like widest latitude given when it comes to matters of like national security and military operation. So on the legality front, it's harder there. Like there are some things that are clearly legal. Like if the president says like, rape this civilian, like, okay, that's clearly. Or if a president says these people have been floating in the water for 41 minutes, take them out, right? Like these are obviously illegal things.
Double tap them.
Yeah, these are obviously legal things, but like, doing military operations against other countries, it gets a lot hazier at that point. Like these are probably things where we wouldn't expect our military, for better or for worse, to be like, making decisions to refuse commands here. But like the fact that the president obviously didn't inform anybody, didn't get approved from anybody, like he really is just running. It's the White House that is in control of the government right now. Not even the executive branch. It's just the White House, and Congress is totally in the dark. It's just crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Also, real quick, because I see people in chat say this. Even the Secretary of State said the Venezuelan action was based on U.S. law and not international law. Spoiler alert, if you want to short circuit Israeli cucks or U.S. cucks, like myself, which I'm both of, people that say, oh, well, we're not part of the ICC or that's international law is basically going to be at parity with domestic law of any real first world country. So even if Israel's not part of the Rome Statute, even if the United States is not a party to the Rome Statute, like our laws on our books are going to be about the exact same as like all of the international legal standards. Otherwise, there would be huge problems if that wasn't the case. But I just can't believe I just woke up and I'm just seeing it's just like I guess he can just do anything. I don't know. I don't care. I'm playing video games. Go ahead. But yeah, next person.
Before I bring up Melt Mods, I'll just say he literally went to another country, sent his troops to another country. They kidnapped the leader of Venezuela and his wife. And then he got on mic and was like, "Yeah, we run this shit now." For
what are we gonna do with him now?
I guess he's going to New York to face the charges.
What are we charges of what?
The one was like conspiracy around. There were two.
Oh, he was indicted.
What
yes. Wait, hold on. One sec. Hold on. I need to read these. I'm curious now. Indictment. Maduro.
Overload just linked it.
All right, Melt Mods. Welcome. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I can only hear him. I kind of
just mute his stream. Here you go.
All right. Yeah, what are we getting into, I guess?
You're an Asmongold fan. Do you have any issue with the fact that he gets all of his news from just scrolling his algorithmically generated Twitter feed? Do you think that might be a really bad way to, or that you might be getting a very biased perception of what's going on in the world if that's how you get your news?
Yes, but also that's generally how most lay people get their information in America, is it not? Like, he's on par with every other person who's going to be consuming his content.
Yeah, but wouldn't we want more from somebody who's delivering content? Like, wouldn't we expect them to be more informed or be putting in more work to be knowledgeable on a thing rather than just like, isn't Asmongold's like delivery of news the equivalent of him having a bunch of friends crowding around saying like, let's scroll my Twitter together?
Yeah, but I guess people are watching him produce news content, but they're watching it for the entertainment of his content, not to be informed. Well, right? Like,
no, I don't.
They want to see him go through the. Yeah, they are getting informed by his Twitter feed, which is what they're getting entertained by, and want him to continue to, you know what I mean? Like, I want Asmongold to run through his Twitter feed and tell me the things that are going to get me upset and or like happy that like, oh, I'm finding this fraud from this guy who makes a video.
Do you care about knowing if things are like true or not true, or is it just about the entertainment purpose at the end of the day? Like, wouldn't you rather know if a thing is true or not true?
I mean, at the end of the day, does it matter? Like, the
Does
government
it?
is going to act on it regardless of if it's true, right? So
wouldn't we want the government
if
acting on
anything,
true
it's almost
things
better
rather
to-
than not true things?
well, that's how we used to do things, but not in Trumpistan, right? Like, I think you're too wedded to the idea that this is still America. It's like the country has changed now. It's like the idea that, like, if you were still
Wait,
a
shouldn't
British
we-
colonist,
hold on,
going,
you're doing
isn't
the-
this how
wait,
we should be doing things because we have a monarch? And we're, like, in America going, like, no, we don't do it that way anymore.
Okay, so then shouldn't we be advocating to go back to when we were having like real information? Wouldn't that be a better state of affairs?
Better as in, like, the
As in-
Iraq War and things like that. Like, people don't believe in that, like, method of thinking anymore because it produced outcomes that people are not happy with.
Because some
So
bad
they've
things
given
happen.
up.
So if some bad things happen, we have to ditch the whole thing.
Yeah, this, like, monarchy. Like, we were, like, British people were happy having a king when it was, like, William the Conqueror, and they were, like, doing great things by having a king. But then when bad things happen with a king, you want to get rid of it. Exactly like how people are like, well, America was great for a while, but it started falling
When did
into
America
a quagmire
become-
and not being
wait,
able to solve its own problems. So
Wait.
we're getting rid of that system. We're doing the Trump system now.
When did
He
America
gets to
become?
decide what's
When did
right,
America
and
become?
we like
Wait,
that.
when did America become not great? What problems were we not able to solve that you think we can solve now with Trump?
I'm sorry. So, like, the Iraq War, the financial crisis, the unemployment, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that all these other people who don't think the way that you do, where, like, logic and facts and knowledge, like, win out, other people want to feel the catharsis of somebody who's doing something about those things rather than, like, thinking it through or
Okay, so like the
wanting to
Iraq
solve
War
it, like,
was
intelligently.
the Iraq War was bad. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But like, so because a bad thing happened, we're going to ditch the concept of truth, and we're just going to become the most like postmodern, crazy, like existing country on the planet now to see how that works. Like, why would we expect that to work out better?
I'm not claiming that it would work out better. It's just what the American citizenry want. That's why they elected
I
Trump.
agree
after he
that
tried
that's
to
what they
screw the
want. I'm not
government.
here to do a descriptive thing. I'm here to do a prescriptive thing. I'm here to look for a defense of it. I think it's bad. You agree? If you agree that it's just bad, then we don't disagree. But
Right. I mean, I think it's a little bit bad, but it's also the country that I live in now, right? Like, I don't have the ability to go back to old America.
But we literally
I'm
do. We can.
living in
Well,
the
not, hold
America
on.
where Trump,
We're not going back. We don't have to go back to
running
old
the country.
America, but we can choose a path forward. And one is where we believe in true things, and the other is where we just say random stupid shit and like nothing matters. Right? We don't have
understand,
to
but
become postmodern
saying
and not
random
believe in
stupid
any.
shit and nothing matters makes people happy. That's why they continue to vote for that, right? Like, the amount of people who are freaked out over this whole Maduro and Venezuela and whatever thing is dwarfed by the people who are just like, yeah, bad guy gone, right? Like,
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Do
I
you think,
understand
do you
that,
think,
like,
I don't,
you
hold on,
are
wait.
still thinking like an old
Oh.
British colonialist, but the idea is that, like, all these other people have moved on from that,
Okay.
regardless of how stupid it is.
Okay, so you
Right?
agree?
Like,
If you're
that's
just
how
here
we're
to give me,
thinking about
are you just here to describe why people think the way they do, or are you here to defend it?
Well, I am defending it. I'm saying that if
No.
this is
You're saying this is the current
country
state of
that I'm
affairs.
going to
I
live
know
in,
that.
I have to embrace it and be an American now. I have to understand that, like, this is not how the old way things are going to be. This is how
Why do you have
things
to?
are going to be going forward.
Why do you have to embrace it? Why isn't part of being an American pushing for change?
It is. We're pushing for this change that is how Trump is doing things now.
Why can't we? We have another election coming up where we can choose different leaders. Why shouldn't we push in a different direction?
I mean, good luck. I mean, I don't know how, like, you just talked to the guy previously who it didn't matter to him what the video showed or whatever. He was adamant that these are the things that are problems and that this is the man who's going to solve them. If you're not providing people with that feeling, then you're just not going to end up winning. I mean, the
Sure,
idea that
but
the
then
January
you-
6th
then
coup
you-
didn't matter enough to limit the things because people were getting the catharsis of, it doesn't matter how much we're thinking or logic or news or info. I want this done and solved because I feel that. You know what I mean? It's like the reverse
you
of
keep
Ben Shapiro.
describing. You keep
Your
describing.
facts
You
can
keep
never change my feelings.
I understand. You keep just describing things. Okay, I don't disagree that this is how people are feeling, But what I'm pushing against is that I think people should feel differently, and that we should advocate for people feeling differently, because none of these problems are going to get solved with whatever weirdo system we're trying right now. And people need to be ready for what comes next, because this isn't going to work. Like Trump is not going to solve any of the problems that people have now. All of them are getting worse. Nothing is getting solved under Trump. And people need to be aware of that. And then I think we need to push against people like creators like Asmongold, who are pretending that things will get better, or who are making bad predictions, or who don't seem to understand what's going on. And to say like, hey, maybe like, look, we can see that this isn't going to work, and look, it's not working. Like, we should try something different. Maybe one of those things could be like believing in true things again, because if we don't even understand the world around us, how can we possibly, work to fix it or change it?
I mean, I would have agreed in the past, but now true is just what people believe it. I mean, like when that guy watched that dude's video, he now believes that that is true. That is what the truth is to him, right? And to all these other voters who now, are moving away from the system that we had in the past.
Yes, you keep describing
what I don't understand is that I can't not embrace the world as it is versus the world as I want it to be.
Why?
Right? I mean,
no,
I would
you
like
literally
to not
push. Part of being an American is pushing for a different world. We got rid of slavery. We gave women the right to vote. We have civil rights. What do you mean? We can change the country. I don't understand why you're saying it's like inevitable.
I agree that we can change it. It got changed. That's what I'm trying to
It keeps changing. It's not a one-time thing. It's been changing since the start of the country. What do you mean?
I don't know how to argue against. We have changed from the way you wanted it to be to the way that you don't want it to be.
Because
I know that you want to go back.
It's not about going
but
back.
Good luck. Every day there are new people who are born who never even knew or understood the system that you want it to be like. Every day they're living in a system in which now Trump can randomly snatch a dude out of Venezuela.
Okay, so you agree then that basically the American democratic experiment is over then, right? Like whatever comes next is going to be another country leading, China or somebody else, and that America is basically on its way out then? And that's a foregone conclusion, and you wouldn't try to change that? It's just, that's it?
No, I'm saying that America as like its system.
The path that you're on, the path that you're saying that we're on right now, the path that you're saying that we're on right now is not sustainable. We won't be able to sustain ourselves.
I guess that remains to be seen.
It doesn't remain to be seen. We have a Health and Human Services Secretary who doesn't believe in medicine. We have a president who doesn't believe in democracy. We have an alcoholic dude running the DOD who takes orders from Trump to kidnap foreign leaders. We've got a Department of Homeland Security secretary who doesn't know what habeas corpus is. We have an attorney general who doesn't know how to appoint attorneys, who are having her cases dropped because Lindsay Halligan was illegally appointed. Like, this doesn't work going forward. We can't. The Congress isn't doing anything. We have a guy who said he was going to lower the deficit. We got the one big beautiful bill. The deficit's gotten larger. Nothing is working. Nothing is working on this front. I don't know how you could say, well, we'll see what happens. Nothing is happening. It's all getting worse.
It's not working as a democracy, but it's still a country. That's kind of my
and everything is getting worse. Everything is getting worse. So it's failing. So if you believe that this is inevitable and we can't change it, then the American experiment has essentially failed, and now we're waiting to see what country or thing steps up next. Is what it sounds like you're saying.
No, we've changed the parameters of the experiment. This experiment is still ongoing. We're just not doing it in the way that we used to as a democracy.
Do you think the way forward is going to be better or worse?
Likely worse, given the trending of America since I was born.
Okay, so if we think it's going to get worse, don't we kind of have an obligation as Americans to try to change it? Why can't we change the trajectory the country is on?
Even if I grant you that, again, you're in the position of being the British colonial after America took hold. You're not getting it back. I don't think you've grasped it yet.
No, I don't think you've grasped it, because you're using an example of like geopolitics and how the world used to be run. I'm talking about like adherence to things like basic scientific truth, or understanding when a thing is true or false. These are not the same types of things. You can't regret. Funnily enough, Trump is the one who's saying we need to go back to a manufacturing economy. We need to go back to having huge tariffs with the entire world. We need to go back. Trump is the one saying that we need to regress. So why is he right to say that we should regress in so many different ways? We need to go back to the racial demographics. We need to go back to the birth rates we had before.
He's only right in the sense that he's taking actions that nobody can prevent him from doing.
So we take actions then by voting for different leadership, right? That's the whole point. And encouraging people to vote for different leadership.
Yeah. And then what leadership did you get? You got him. You did that.
Yeah, so we're pushing. So now the push is to make people realize that Trump is not working. It's not working how they wanted it to. That's why you should vote for different leadership next time. You don't always win the elections you push for. It doesn't mean you give up.
I am not saying give up. I'm saying that the actions that you're proposing to take just aren't going to work anymore. Like how could you even understand like the idea you win your election, you beat, or either Trump dies or comes out of office or whatever. How does anyone like step back into the mantle of an American administration after what Trump has done to it over just the past year, let alone what he's going to do for the next 3 years, and somehow reverse that tanker back to the direction that it was pointing before versus, holy crap,
Whatever,
I have 10% of NVIDIA
sure.
that Trump
There are
stole,
ways,
and I'm sitting with Maduro in my jail
there are
and a
ways
billion
to
other
do
things
it.
that it's like, this isn't the country anymore. It's not America like it was.
There are ways to do it, but whatever those ways are, it starts with an acknowledgement of the problem. And if we can't get people to acknowledge that, hey, this wasn't okay, this is not good, if we need less Asmongolds and more Adam Mocklers, okay, we have to get people to realize, hey, this is a bad thing. And then when more people realize that, then they vote for different things in the future. That's how.
I think the fundamental issue, though, is that there's like the overarching good, capital G good, and then what's good for individuals and or like their own interests. So, right, when people feel the catharsis of Trump administration pulls all the funding for every daycare center everywhere in America, right, that feels good to an absurdly huge amount of people in America, right? Like, do
you ever do any recreational drugs?
Yeah.
Okay, those feel good, right? But they don't feel good forever. And at some point, you have to realize you have to put down the needle, put down the crack pipe, put down the meth, whatever, right? And be like, okay, well, this works for a little bit, but it's not solving my problems forever, right? Yeah. Does Trump stuff feel good? Sure, it does, but it's not going to make any of these people's lives better. It's not going to fucking fix anything. It's not going to give them better paying jobs. It's not going to fix the economy. It's not going to make housing more affordable. It's not going to do any of those things. And the goal is to make people realize that. Like, hey, notice how none of your shit is getting cheaper. Notice how you're not magically getting better jobs. Notice how we're not magically getting better trade deals. Like, the goal is to make them realize that as quickly as possible so that we can move on to the next thing that actually fucking works.
I guess the only thing I can say to that is from taking good luck. I mean, I don't see how you're not grasping the fundamental divide between the things that we think are good as far as good outcomes and the things that we believe are good because it gives us catharsis, and that's what we want, is the catharsis. How many people, right? I mean, your minimal size of this is trying to figure out how do people figure out the catharsis side of watching Asmongold all the time. I'm telling you, it's because he doesn't think about things. He literally feels a feeling and he says, you know what, deport all these Somalis or whatever else. And then us watchers go, oh, you know what, that feels good because I'm not smart enough to think of solutions. I don't need to be worried about solutions. I need to worry about solve the problem as quickly, as easily, as uncomplicated as possible. I don't have the mental power to be worried about those.
I understand that, but I think there's something baked into that catharsis, and I think the baked in thing is that people assume that it is going to lead to something better. I don't think it feels as cathartic if time goes on and people start to realize, oh wait, nothing is actually getting better. All of this is just kind of like showmanship bullshit, and we didn't get any of the things that we wanted. And I think making people realize that quicker moves people away from feeling cathartic about that thing. We can't do politics like it's WWE,
I would agree
right?
With that, except the COVID response and remembrance of COVID kind of proves it reverse, right? I mean, the idea that you can't even get people to acknowledge that Trump was president during the COVID lockdowns and whatever, they literally only remember that he gave them a Trump check.
Yeah, but part of the reason for that is because of people like Asmongold. Right? Part of the reason for that is because of all of these bad actors on the conservative media side that try to rewrite history constantly.
Exactly. I think they're successful in doing so.
Yeah, but we should make them not successful. Why you pretend you're just... We don't have to just be passive observers of American culture. We all participate in it, no?
I mean, we do, but I'm one of 300 million people in here. So regardless
so is everybody
even
else.
If you change, they are. You're not reaching them. They don't. Asmongold is reaching them by this... Like you said, like a low IQ take. It is reaching the low IQ populace, of which we have millions of people that seem to dwarf the people who think like you do, where it's like, oh, I got to worry about what is the number coming out of this Nick Shirley video and is it accurate, and nobody's worried about that. Or like, you know, on a scale, right, it's 80-20 or it's 60-40 or whatever. You're not...
Then we can make low IQ videos that fight on the other side then, I guess, if we want to do that. If that's the solution, then that's the solution. If it's literally...
That probably is the solution, is not to be making oh, we got to do a deep dive, blah, 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 of this Nick Surly video. You got to go make a low IQ video of...
Sure. Then you know what? And listen, that might be the solution. That's fine. But at the very least, then, I'm going to push on my platform for people to at least understand that Asmongold is giving low IQ takes, because I don't think a lot of these people think that. I think a lot of them think they're getting the high IQ shit and they're giving the high IQ takes when they're just getting a guy basically saying, like, I trust my gut over gay books. Like, that's like Asmongold in 12 words.
Right, but so, like, I guess you have to hide that. It's like Ben Shapiro, right? Like, Ben Shapiro isn't as stupid as the points that he goes out and puts on his like videos every single day, but he knows to be making those low IQ videos, and he also knows not to come out and be like, hey, everybody who's consuming my content, they're pretty low IQ, right?
Okay, so that's fine.
You gotta pick a lane and stick with it.
Okay, all right. I got you.
All right. Thank you, Melt Mods. We're gonna pull someone else up.
Wait, okay,
right,
I'm gonna get
thanks.
a Red Bull. My first and only of the day. Hold on.
This content brought to you by Anything Else. You'll be able to find the full VOD on our YouTube channel.
Bro, these guys are really stupid.
Very good
I've been
content.
having to vet them. They're just... At least one of them is fucking Russian. I have no idea. But, like, because I've been asking, like, oh, just a screenshot of, like, your YouTube history or your fucking whatever. And one of them sent me a screenshot. Their YouTube, like, oh, look, I've been watching Asmongold, and the YouTube is in Russian. So Jesus Christ. There's a lot of retards here, but...
Yeah.
Seems like it's good content, what I've been able to catch.
Big retards.
Can we not have describers?
Can we not have what?
Describers? Like people that
Yeah,
just
I
come
can
in
try
and they're
and
like,
get 'em out sooner.
well, this is just what it is. Like that. I'm not looking for this. This is not the answer I'm looking for.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm pulling in the next guy. Comic Cowboy.
That's you. Just
Comic Cowboy, welcome. You were muted. Take your time.
I've been sitting here watching the stream and kind of giggling, bro. Honestly, because it's fucking y'all. The things that are making you so pressed and upset, I'm excited about. Like fucking, we are so back, baby. Let's go. And you guys are like sad and coping and seething, and I fucking love every second of it. The Schadenfreude is fucking next level, dude.
Okay.
For real.
2 questions. First, are you 21 or 22?
Oh, really? I'm actually 39.
Okay, and then second question, how long you been watching Fuentes for?
Not at all.
Okay.
Fuck that little bitch.
Go next. Give me the next one, Moon.
Oh, all right. So thank you, Comic Cowboy.
What? Because I don't like fucking Nick Fuentes? I'm out?
No, this is not I don't know if there's a real argument or not.
Of course, I can. Let's do this, bro. I'm here.
Okay, sure. Super basic one. How do you feel about the fact that the government deficit didn't go down, that Trump failed monumentally in doing anything about the debt? The one big beautiful bill is a lie.
Nothing has happened as of yet.
No. Hold on. Hold on.
Instantaneously happened.
Doge failed, right?
Overnight.
Do you admit that Doge completely and totally failed?
I don't admit that it completely and totally failed because it did remove government waste.
No, it
just didn't keep going.
No, it didn't.
Stop.
There was no government waste, fraud, or abuse.
No?
Nope.
USAID.
That's not waste, fraud, or abuse. No, that wasn't. And the deficit still increased. The spending still went up, so it didn't matter. Yeah.
So we fundamentally disagree on what's
on definitions
wasteful,
of words.
No.
Do you think that waste? Do you think waste is program I don't like? Is that waste?
If it's maybe if it's spent on Somali children that don't actually exist in daycares, absolutely.
Oh, so you're saying that Elon Musk identified that? Can you point me to where he did that?
No,
oh, okay. So what you just said was totally wrong. So what you just said was totally wrong, and had nothing to do with USAID. So USAID, if you don't like it, that's fine, but that's not waste. It's just a program you don't like.
Okay.
Okay. So Doge failed. Yeah.
But no, that's not failed, because if it's something that I don't think should be funded, then why wouldn't I want it cut from the budget?
You can want it cut. That's fine. It's just not waste. That's not waste.
If I view it as waste, it's waste.
It's definitionally not waste. It's just a program you don't like.
If it's money for gay Pakistani fucking tickling, what do I care? What do I care? Why are we funding anything outside of the world that isn't directly helping us?
Sure,
here?
You can think that, but it doesn't make it waste. It's just a program you don't like.
No. It's waste if I don't think it's worth anything. That's waste. You throw things
but
you
what
think
is
are worthless
whether or
in
not
the
it's
garbage.
whether or
That's
not it's
waste.
worth anything, it definitionally comes down to what the program is. So, for instance, let's say somebody spends $50,000 on a new Mustang, and I think Mustangs are bad cars, and I'm like, wow, that guy wasted his money. LOL. Well, it's not really. That's not waste. He just spent it on something that I don't like. Now, let's say that he bought that
but
same.
if he bought it with your money,
Sure, hold on. Let's say
that's
that he
a
bought.
different-
Sure, but it's
if
not.
he bought it with your money is the difference.
Sure.
Right?
No,
How
kind
I
of. No,
spend
but
my
let's say.
money on
Wait.
myself,
I understand. Let's say that
how the government spends my money is my business.
Sure. Let's say that he spent $100,000 on that same Mustang because he had to spend $50,000 on a middleman guy to go and find it for him or whatever. I might say, well, that seems like actual waste. There was a middleman involved here that just seemed like he was getting a lot of money for this and he wasn't really providing much of a service. That would be wasteful spending. So waste is not just like a thing I don't like it's some kind of inefficiency or some kind of duplicate thing or something that's not providing any value. Whereas you're saying that waste is just a program I don't like.
No, I'm not saying a program I don't like. I'm saying a program that is not worth anything to the American taxpayer.
That's fine, but that's
That
not what
is
the American.
waste.
That we voted for people that installed that program. That was part of legally existing stuff. USAID was a legally existing part of the executive branch that did stuff that was legally authorized. Whether you
Okay.
like it or not, you can't just call it. You can't just say it's waste because you didn't like it.
And now it's gone.
That's
and
fine.
Now it's gone. So now
Doge's
you gotta
job.
make a new one. If
Doge's
if you wanna
job
make
was
a new
not to
one.
get rid of waste. Doge's job was not to get rid of programs you don't like. It was to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, which they found none of. It was a
Okay,
failure.
Yeah, definitely.
It was
definitely,
a failure.
yeah,
It failed.
The government's known for being super efficient and never fraudulent.
How
Absolutely.
embarrassing
You're
that the
100%.
government has such
I
a bad
definitely-
reputation and Elon Musk found nothing. Is that a little bit humiliating to you that the government, that he had the keys to go through every department and couldn't find a single fucking example that wasn't already listed in some Office of Inspector General report? Isn't that kind of humiliating or embarrassing?
Cowboy? Hello?
Okay.
All right. I mean, he ran, I guess.
Oh my god, bro.
All right, Bent. Hello.
Yo, can you hear me?
What's up? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my take, one of the previous guys said that you would celebrate if Biden did the same thing. So I think maybe I understand the reason why he has that impression. Because of your like inconsistent, I guess, view on the like whole like Trump situation and the shutdowns. Like basically you could say that maybe you're like a Democratic lapdog or something, or I guess Democrats in this case.
What do you, I don't know what you just, I have no idea what you just said. On the shutdowns, what do you mean?
Okay, do you remember your stream with on Week TV with like Prime and Honor?
Okay. Or what, or just tell me
you
what
had
is the position that you think I had or have that on shutdowns or whatever that is.
Well, on shutdown, you had a position that is, I guess, too many lives would be like wasted if you continue shutdown because they will starve.
The 2 million lives?
Too many lives.
Too many lies?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a sacrifice basically of human lives if you continue the shutdown because they're gonna run out of food.
Was that ever my position?
Yeah, I think. Like you said, it was a good thing that Democrats ended it early.
Are you a DGGer?
Not really. I mean, I did watch Destiny a lot in preparation.
Wait,
of
have
this.
have I ever given this position before? Were people going to mass starve if the shutdown continued? That was, people
At
are
least
saying
I
that
had.
this was a Hutch position.
Okay, what was your position then? Maybe I didn't understand it.
I don't even know at the time what my position. I'm trying to remember because COVID was a long time ago.
Or maybe I can remind with a couple of quotes then.
Okay.
Okay, so before the shutdown, you said the Democrats needs to be unified in their messaging, and they can't be fucking backstabbing each other constantly on media with a whole bunch of liberal simps looking to get brownie points from independent and center-right losers by constantly second-guessing and undermining their own side. It has to be a strong democratic unified response. And after the shutdown, you had this take. You have to take a very nuanced political view of what's going on. You can have an optimal strategy that gives outs to different members of your political class, your elected politicians, even those who are not directly involved. So, for instance, it could be that optimal political path could be we are doing the shutdown, but also Gavin Newsom is going to shit talk about doing the shutdown.
Okay. What is the contradiction between these two positions? In one, I'm saying you have to have a unified democratic response, and in the other one, I'm justifying having a non-unified democratic response. Is that what you're saying?
In this case, yes, but I...
Okay, wait. So let me explain real quick the difference between those two statements. So the first statement is that the Democrats need to not be backstabbing each other constantly or running from at the first sign of fear and throwing other Democrats under the bus. Okay, right? That's my first statement, right? My second statement is that there might be times when strategically some Democrats vote no on a thing or have some statement that appears to attack other Democrats, but this is a thing that they are coordinating. So even if that might appear as though they're like quote unquote backstabbing each other, it's not really. They're still working together to further Democratic Party interests. Like when AOC or Rashid Tlaib, like vote no, or when Bernie Sanders says a thing about some particular thing, and I understand he's saying it to appease his constituents, but they're not like the deciding vote on a thing. Like, I don't think that that's backstabbing the Democrats or not working together. They're doing what they need to appease their constituency, but we're still like moving towards a common goal. That's different than Al Franken like having to resign from the fucking Senate over that stupid picture or whatever, which I think was just a dumb thing. Or somebody like Fetterman, who just seems to constantly be shitting on Democrats.
So was it a good thing that Democrats ended the shutdown early by caving in?
Was it a good thing that I don't even know 100% what that, because I feel like that process was a little bit staggered, right? So for instance, like unemployment insurance ended in some states early and not in other states. And I don't even remember what the overall feeling on that was. At the time, my feelings on my biggest issues with stuff, here are my two biggest issues with stuff related to the shutdown. One is that everybody on the conservative side just assumed that it was all being done to establish a new world order and to control American lives and to fucking mass murder everybody or something retarded. Okay, it was the first thing. And then the second thing was a refusal to acknowledge that shutdowns reduced the amount of infectivity. They did. It's an undeniable fact that shutdowns and distancing and masking all worked to reduce infectivity. And you can see that in places, especially like in New Zealand or especially in Australia. Now that being said, were they done, was the school shutdown idea good? Maybe not. Could they have ended earlier or gone later? Maybe. I don't know if I ever had I don't even know if today I have super strong opinions on what that should have looked like. I just was very irritated that every time somebody made a decision about anything, the Republicans were there basically accusing people of trying to mass murder people or incarcerate people in their homes. They're just banning going to the gym or places of worship or whatever. That was the issue.
All right, Ben.
Well,
I'm gonna.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
No, wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. Wait, hold on. Forget everything I just said. Just eject all of that. My bad. Let me reset my brain. You're talking about the government shutdown. You're not talking about I'm thinking lockdown. I'm thinking of the COVID lockdowns.
Yes.
Okay. Eject everything I just said. I'm sorry. Can you restate what you just, restate your position, what you just said? My bad.
Well, my first position is basically that you basically took whatever position the Democratic Party needed at that point. Like you had your own maybe thoughts before the shutdown, but after that you said basically, oh, it's a good thing that they ended it early.
Okay. Hold on. I need to move out of COVID mode. I think my position, if I remember correctly, my position was that ending it when they did was a good idea because I think they had some solid wins, and that if they ended it at that point, it was just an easy thing to say, look, we got solid wins, and then, we moved on right after that to the Epstein file thing, and then, we've got other stuff on the table, like the revote, supposedly in the ACA, and those subsidies would be expiring. I generally thought it was good. Did I say something opposite to this?
Before the shutdown, I guess I should ask you, do you consider that the thing Democrats did, or was that a backstabbing, or trying to get a brownie points? from independent and center-right losers.
The shutdown, was that trying to get brownie points from independents or center-right losers? No, I don't think so.
And that wasn't backstabbing from the other side, right?
Wait, who's backstabbing who in this case, if we're saying it's backstabbing?
I guess those 8 Democrats that caved in.
Oh, because there were a few that voted to end the shutdown and the others didn't. Well, I don't think it was backstabbing because it seems like that definitionally we can agree or disagree with it, but I don't think it was backstabbing, right? It seemed like that was planned by the Democratic establishment, right?
Do you know that?
I think statistically speaking, I think almost 100%, yeah, it was. Because like the 8 people that voted, either like it was like the 8 that didn't have elections coming up or weren't running or something like that. It was almost 100% like a planned thing for the 8 that defected on the vote, for sure, right? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm almost positive that this was like a Chuck Schumer organized thing.
Okay, I guess a little bit sus, but still. But the other contradicting thing that you told is during your week stream with Prime and Connor, like you had a very strong position on what should be done to like Trump and his supporters. You said basically that you need to judge every elected politician that supported Trump, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and every time people asked you what would happen like if most of the people wouldn't want that thing, you said then it's civil war basically then, right?
That might have been a little hyperbolic, but I think my ultimate point for that debate was that we should be pushing to make people accept this thing rather than just, this is where the popularity is right now and we give up on it. I think it's something we should fight harder on or argue further on.
Also, it was basically out of context, right? Like in Hassan's case.
What do you mean out of context?
I mean, should I take your words literally or seriously?
Well, you can take them both. I think the ultimate point that I was making, if I said that it was going to be civil war, what I was saying was that if we make it through this administration and there's no, what would you say, not comeuppance, but there's no like mass recognition across the United States that the events of the past, 10 years have just been wholly, especially the past 5 years, have been wholly unacceptable and can never be repeated. And there needs to be a recognition and an accounting for the wrong that happened. If that doesn't happen, then the country, I think, is inevitably headed towards some type of civil war scenario because the Conservative Party has just fractured so far out of reality. We're already past so many points. We've already accepted so much crazy shit. Like we just deposed a foreign leader today of a sovereign country and no one seems to care. But I mean, that would be my position. Yeah.
Is that really the only possible outcome? Like if you don't judge Trump and his supporting crew, then there will be a civil war?
This is your final question. We're going to move on.
Is that the only possible? No, I mean, I'm sure there are other possible, politics is hugely complicated. I'm sure there's a million things that theoretically could happen, but it seems like conservative politics have been trending in this direction for a long time, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't see it ever having reset over the past decade and a half. Or over the past decade. So why would I assume that trajectory is not going to change? I don't see any reason to. I feel like it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Okay.
Non-Asmon viewer.
Nerd. You're a nerd.
Gabriel Mack. Hello?
Hello.
All right, go ahead. And just to confirm, you are an Asmon viewer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Destiny. Nice to be in here. I'm not the best debater, but I've been watching you since 2024. So I've just made a couple of notes while you were talking to those people about some different things you're talking about. But we'll start with Asmon. I do not believe that Asmon is as far right wing as you think he is. Maybe socially, but definitely not economically. And he actually gets in arguments or talks to his chat about it pretty often.
Yeah, I mean, like he's kind of like an economic populist, so it's not going to be like far right. It's just going to be what?
Not really a populist. I think he's a socialist. He says.
I mean, I depending on how you view socialism or populism, I mean, that's kind of the same thing, I think.
Okay. I mean, well, right there, he's not he's not like super right wing, and he only and I don't what all he does is talk about America, like just the American people, and want to put the American people first before putting other people first. Like, how is that just bad for people?
Well, I mean, definitionally, I mean, like, what is his definition of American people? Because it feels like he thinks that certain people, so like if you're a Somali American, you're just as American as anybody else if you're an American citizen, but he seems to think that those people aren't, or that like ethnically you can trace people that aren't. So I don't know what he means by that.
I think he thinks that they were. It's like kind of like how Trump says illegal immigrants, but he's talking about or the illegal aliens, but he's also uses like asylum seekers or parolees, stuff like that. Like, but anybody can be American. Like when Trump says American, he doesn't say white Americans. I'm mixed, and I've never felt listening to Trump that he wasn't talking about me.
What is your your mixed what?
Black and white.
Okay. When you say black, like of African American descent, or do you have like family from like Kenya?
Yeah,
or
African American.
Okay.
No, African American.
So they don't usually attack African Americans, but like my question would be, of all the ethnic groups that Trump and MAGA have attacked, has it ever been a white one, or has it always been darker ones? So Haitians, Muslims, Venezuelans, the recent thing with Somali Americans.
No, that's a good point. But he like as a I guess a stand-in for that is just liberals that like that to Trump that's an ethnicity. He probably would think so.
That
like,
what
that's
is
just that's the same characteristics. It's just a group of people. It's not because they're a different color. It could be for any reason.
Is it kind of weird?
He banned.
I'm trying to remember.
He's banned Russians from coming.
Did he?
To America? Yeah. Recently, there's a few different countries, but Russians were on the list.
I feel like there was one country that he. I don't think he banned Russians from coming to the States. There might have been a few Russians, but I don't think. I feel like I would have heard this.
No, I think he stopped. Yeah, I think he stopped Russians. Russians can't apply for
countries with full restrictions: Afghanistan, Burkina Faso, Burma, Chad, Equatorial New Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Laos, Libya, Mali, Niger, Republic of the Congo, Sierra Leone, Somalia, South Sudan, Syria, Yemen. Individuals traveling on Palestinian Authority issued or endorsed travel documents are also full suspension of entry. I'm not seeing Russia on here at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was a bunch of African countries. And
maybe, yeah.
But then also,
was misinformed, I guess.
That's okay. I feel like there was one country that I can remember Trump seemed to pay special attention to in terms of like accepting asylum seekers. Do you remember hearing about any countries like that?
Yeah. The South African.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was only 79 people. That was why.
Yeah, but it was such a special exception carved out for white people from South Africa. Is that not like a little bit sus?
They still let asylees come, but it was just a special thing that he was doing because that little fallout with the South African president.
Sure.
Trying to make like a big deal about it.
Sure.
Trump was.
But like if there was another ethnic group that got attacked tomorrow by MAGA, do you think it would be a white one, or do you think it'd probably be another darker skinned one?
No, it'd probably be darker skinned. And I mean, unless there was they were attacking Christians in I don't know, some crazy white people country in Europe. If they were just literally attacking Christians, then yeah, he probably would.
Okay. I
mean, the people might not, but I mean, I don't think, and Asmon, he even tells his followers like it has nothing to do with race. Even when he'll go on like a rant, and one that would be taken as being a racist one normally, like just kind of off the vibes of it, and then somebody in the chat will say something like that, and then he'll like chastise them and tell them like anybody can be like that, and talks about white trash people. Like anybody can be like that. It has nothing to do with their skin color. It's their culture. And it's not wrong. Like that's kind of how things are. Like low trust societies. There's a reason why there was like every time around Halloween, there's a thing about Indians in Indian communities that have come here. Now they can't leave candy balls out.
Sure, but it's kind of goofy to like for like self ID and trans people, right? Like you're not trans just because you say you are. Or you're not a woman or a man just because you say you are, right? Like, isn't it? It's kind of the same with racism too. Nobody's going to say like I'm racist. Right? I think we have to, you infer that from actions or behaviors, and they're not usually going to admit and say like, well, yeah, okay, you're right, I am racist, right?
Right, but the behaviors that would distinguish that from somebody who's a nationalist and just cares about people in their country would be only like just specifically talking about people based on their race, or only talking about certain races, and never had given any grace or passes or.
Well, sure, I guess, but then like my question would be, isn't it kind of weird to talk about deporting American citizens if they're Mexican Americans or Somali Americans? Like, there's just American citizens, right? Why would we deport them?
Yeah, well, they don't. Anybody, I know at least when Asmon talked about deporting American citizens, he never mentioned any race. I don't think Trump's ever mentioned a race. Trump, I think when he brought it up, he was talking about the people like progressives, and that's definitely what Asmon was talking about when he mentioned it.
Do you think the Somali community is a
even
progressive
recently,
community, or the Haitian community is very progressive, or that Arabs that come to the United States are very progressive?
No, I thought you were talking about when he first said that. I didn't know they were talking about getting rid of American citizens now. But I except for Rubio was talking about how if you commit fraud and you've been a naturalized citizen, you can be denaturalized.
That's
and I think they do that with all kind of fraud.
Well, there's a very one of the only ways I believe you can become you can like lose your citizenship for committing a crime is if the crime was like in exactly yes. So like that's true, but that's nothing new. But I guess it's just weird to me that if all of the opponents of this administration, and I feel like Asmongold when else I'm going to talk, the racial groups that they focus on the most are always non-white, and they get to the point to where they're talking about deporting people who are American citizens, which doesn't make sense, right? Where do you deport an American citizen to? But they're non-white. At some point, I just feel like it's kind of weird. It feels like there's a racial component to this.
Well, if the specific group that is being, I guess you say, attacked, like if he's talking about a specific group and he's not talking about the enemy of progressives, then he's talking about certain like little factions of people. But they also attack progressives, they attack liberals, they attack Democrats. It's not just they attack demographics.
Sure, but like isn't one of the biggest reasons why they attack? Isn't one of the biggest reasons why they attack progressives is because progressives are letting in a lot of the minorities? I feel like that's one of the biggest.
That's not the main reason.
Not the main reason, but I think it's a big one.
Yeah, they were just letting anybody come through the border. I mean, we do. We have a certain culture, and you can't just take in a huge amount of people and let them have an enclave. Then they can't assimilate. They literally won't assimilate.
Didn't this definitionally happen though with like Italians and Irishmen during?
That's what I was about to say. They said the same thing would happen then, and they did have enclaves. But I've heard this from people like Orrin McIntyre. So I don't know if it could be have like bad intentions, but it's because they are like we have similar cultures, we have similar languages, so there's not like a huge language barrier to get past. Like it wasn't as big of a leap to go from important.
Didn't they? I mean, like when you talk about like, I feel like Italians are the perfect example of.
Yeah, that would be the biggest difference.
Well, like of everything horrible for an immigrant group, right? They came in. We've got Little Italy's. They literally had maybe the largest organized crime in America. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
like the mafia.
Yeah, that's why they came up with RICO, just for them.
Yeah. So.
And that's not a good thing. I mean, that was a bad thing, and people didn't like it back then. And it finally worked because we stopped all immigration, or not all, but like a shit ton of our levels of immigration for a while until we were able to assimilate those people. And if you look at it, this all happened because
like Italian immigration or stopped all Italians.
No, but we stopped our large scale of like letting people in. I think was it the nationalization or whatever from the 1920s to the 60s, I think, or 40s. They stopped it for a long time because they let in too many people and they weren't assimilating. They were voting as blocks, and that was like a big talking point back then. Like that was a big thing.
Sure. I mean, I guess if people like, wait, real quick. Let me refocus on this. Is like one of my biggest issues. Okay, so let's say that what you're saying, let's just say I grant most of it, okay? And like this was a problem and they solved it. I feel like if you have problems with certain things, like let's say that we think, and honestly, like I would probably grant some of this even, that having like huge groups of a certain type of immigrant, like a certain ethnic group of immigrant living in a certain place, all not speaking English, probably will learn to game the system some way. Like I agree that these are bad things, right? But I feel like when it comes time to like solve those problems, there are conversations we can have about solving the problems, and then there are people that use that conversation maliciously just to push this, like, we need to just deport all of them thing. And I feel like I hear that last thing from Asmongold way more than anything else.
I don't think so.
Like, what is a single thing that Asmongold has talked about when it comes to, like, reforming these communities or helping these communities integrate better in the United States? I feel like all I hear from is deport, deport, deport. Even for citizens, deport, deport, deport.
Oh, his goal isn't, like, he doesn't talk about how to assimilate them. Like that's not really his goal. So, but like, he's fine with legal immigration. I mean, that's part that, I mean, I guess that would be
but not those people, I guess, right? Because Somali Americans are Americans.
No, they can be integrated, but not. He thinks it's because of the large scale illegal immigration and the parole of them, and or the TPS or whatever, all that. Like,
sure.
Actually, you know what? He might actually believe that we shouldn't have, or for a certain amount of time, we shouldn't have any immigration at all. So I don't know, actually.
But I'm just saying that, like, I've never heard him talk about, if all of his talk is about deportations, even of American citizens, Somali Americans, and I've never heard him talk about integration or ways to just stop the crime, and that's it. And it's always focused on, like, the ethnic groups, the national immigrants that are coming over, and then how to deport them and get rid of them. Like, doesn't it feel like it's all pointed in one direction? Like, it doesn't seem like a person
he doesn't make any prescriptions for, even when he talks a lot about other people doing fraud and how bad it is, and like when he talks about the socialist stuff that he talks about.
Sure, but like, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he said he wants to stop, like, all non-white immigration to the United States for a while. Like, he's okay.
I don't think he just said non-white, but I mean, he wants all immigration to stop, but like, he's not making prescriptions for, like, how to like, just to get rid of certain people because of fraud. He doesn't want, like, anybody doing fraud. He talks about other people that do fraud. He thinks it's all bad.
If Asmongold would have said, if it was the case that he said we should stop all non-European immigration to the United States, do you think that would be a little sus? Would that make you think, like, maybe there's, like, a racial component to this?
I don't think he would have a reason, because they're Western societies.
Okay, so then
we don't have a. Go ahead.
Well, if that's how you're mapping it on, then could Asmongold ever make a racist statement? It feels like there's always going to be cover for.
Yeah, if he's just talking about the race, or saying none of these people from this group could ever be come here, or the ones that are here now, all of them that are just from this group of people have to leave. I mean, he's never said anything like that. I don't think he would.
Okay, let's say this. Let's say that I was racist, but I know that it's, like, a bad position to have because it's, like, unpopular. Like, couldn't I just possibly say always, like, oh, I just want Western immigration or Christian immigration or European immigration?
He doesn't say that. He hates Christians. He talks. I'm a Christian, but he talks shit about Christians. He thinks they're just as bad as Muslims somehow, even though they're not.
Does he really, though?
Starting wars with people? Yeah. I promise you. He even thinks that they're starting even when people in the comments will talk about just Muslims, like when what was it? There was something happened, some kind of conflict or something happening. Oh, well, he watched the stuff in Sudan, and they were talking about people like, it's all Muslims. Everybody in the comments were like, it's always Muslims, only Muslims. And he was like, no, this shouldn't be part of any culture, any religion. He says, like, Christians do the same thing. That Christians slaughter people, and then somebody tried to have an argument with them about it's been a thousand years since Christians have started wars for that. And he, like, banned them or muted them, timed them out. But he doesn't. He's just an atheist.
Sure. I mean, I'm atheist as well, but I guess
I think one of the reasons why it allows people that have the ulterior motives to even come in, and you're not bad about this, and you even say stuff about it, like, because there's people who just refuse to like, recognize just the most basic facts of, like, that thing you just granted earlier, or just for the sake of the argument, like, just because people refuse to grant even that little bit and automatically call you racist and stuff. That's why.
Why do you think people? Why do you think people get brain broken on that, though? Why do you think people, like, refuse to acknowledge stuff like that?
Well, they've been doing that since before people started being more bold about. I'm only 24, but as far as since I've been paying attention, they've been like that since, like, before people recently started being able to be more, like, especially online, to where everybody can see it and everybody participates. more open about how they feel about stuff. They've
Yeah,
been
but
like this.
like, if somebody
I would argue
says
it was worse.
if somebody says like, if you've got a person who, you know, when pushed a little bit, reveals themselves, do you look black? I guess you said you were mixed or whatever.
When I was in college in Athens, UJ, people thought I was Mexican. They thought I was Mexican. So I
Okay,
guess
sure.
no,
I guess
no,
like
black,
just like hypothetically,
loose curls.
if you've got a person who's like, you're not sure if they're racist or not, but they just say kind of like weird things sometimes, and then something bad happens to them, and they like go off on some crazy racist tirade. Would you look at that person and think like, oh wow, that last thing that happened just turned them racist? Or would you think like, ooh, I don't know, maybe this is kind of lurking the whole time, right? So like when you say that, like,
I'd probably remember little things.
Sure, yeah. Or when you say like people haven't been like full on like mask off about everything until recently, sure. But I think that like people have like this suspicion, and I agree with you that it's dumb. I think one of the biggest issues that liberals have is sometimes they just can't admit certain things, like black people commit more crime. Like it's a really hard thing for liberals to admit sometimes. But like I understand why it happens when the person on the other side is like, don't you believe that black people have the warrior gene, so they're genetically predisposed to committing more crime? Like when the person like that is crazy. Arguing against you, it's really hard to say, yeah, I kind of agree. Black people do commit more crime, because it's like, well, hold on, what am I agreeing to? You know?
Yeah, but like it's always been a culture argument until recently. Like I'd never even heard the genetic argument until
we say we
very recently.
We can call
but,
it,
even when it was a cultural argument, it was shut down.
We can call it a cultural argument, but when the cultural argument is always seems to be aimed at one direction, like
but it's not. Like they'll even bring up the white people that act like that or act certain ways.
They even bring Well, no,
like
but they don't really though. So like here's a big difference, okay?
Racist.
You've heard about like crack cocaine, black neighborhoods, cops need to crack down on it. You've heard about like black people smoking weed was a stereotype when I was younger. I don't know if this is still like a huge stereotype, but like when we talk about black people and drugs, okay, I swear I'm not trying to sound too woke here, but we talk about black people and drugs. This is a black person's problem and it's a policing problem. And that in my mind, this is basically exclusively how it's talked about. But when white people,
really?
Yes. Do you think it's different, or do you disagree with that?
I know for a fact that you 100% along like in the like before the 90s, like yeah, like for sure, like openly on the news and stuff. Well, not news, maybe like opinion stuff. But I don't think so. I don't think so. Actually, since the 2000s and stuff.
Or what do you mean? What are you disagreeing with me on? Just so I understand or disagree.
Like that it was made to seem like a black people only problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me be more clear.
I've never heard it.
Yeah. Let me be more clear on this. I'm sorry. I don't mean that like only black people smoke weed, right? But I'm saying like when these drugs are having really bad impacts on the black community, the two solutions that we give are the cops need to crack down on it, or the black community needs to get its shit together. So we need more black fathers in the household. We need more cops, cracking skulls on the street corners. This is the solution. But then when we look at how the white community's been impacted over the past decade or so with like the mass opiate thing, now it's like we need to invade Venezuela to free white people from this drug, or we need to blame the pharmaceutical companies, or we need to do everything we can because these poor white people are dying of drugs. Nobody is, or at least I don't really ever hear this rhetoric of like, why are you fucking retards dying of fentanyl? Just stop doing drugs. Or like, we need to get cops like crack it down. Like if you go to the hospital and you get out of surgery, then there should be cops visiting your home to make sure you're not abusing your fucking prescription painkillers. Like, why are you still taking this? We don't need a bunch of Vicodin addicted, old people and white people. But it was never, I don't think I've ever heard anybody even remotely suggest that like the opioid epidemic is just the fault of like white people getting addicted to drugs who shouldn't be.
Well, I think it's because I think it was because it was back during the 60s and 70s and stuff. Like, but since like the 2000s, I don't think they did that they've done that towards black people. They've said stuff like that towards black people, and the opiates affect everybody. Like when I was in Athens, crazily enough, one of the reasons why I stopped going to school was because I actually got addicted to opiates, and there's shit tons of black people up there that do that too, white people that do that too. It's a problem with all the people, like everybody. It's not like a one side, like it doesn't just affect white people. I don't think that's why.
Sure, I understand, but like the response to the crime wave in the 90s and the response to like the crack epidemic and everything literally was, we need to, like the crime bill, right? It was a 93 crime bill. We need to crack down hard on policing. And it feels like the response to and the Congressional Black Caucus and everything else, people really didn't like crack. But it seems like the response to the opioid thing is like everybody's at fault except for the white people doing the drugs. I've never heard people blame white people for getting addicted to opioids. And I feel like it's because it was like a white person's drug more than anything else. I never heard that.
I think it's because we've actually made progress, like actually made progress in understanding, like how that it actually does affect people and that it's a disease and stuff. Like I've listened to him talk about it on Fox News, about how it's not like they've talked about it in that way, how it's like an issue that can affect anybody. There's people. There was a couple hosts on there that talked about how that was part of some stuff that happened in their family. Maybe that it does have something to do with what you're saying, but it also could just be because it had never affected them or white people in that way to where they even had a way to understand it. But now they understand it from everybody. I just think it's just because it's two different like areas in time, like two different parts in time. And that was also right when well, never mind. That's not. I don't think that's true actually.
I guess I disagree, but it's hard to.
The last thing I think you could say is that Asmon's a racist, because he even says stuff that, like when he says it, I'm like, oh, that's gonna get clipped, that's gonna sound bad, and he'll say it like openly, like about how everybody makes jokes and like how he's actually probably worse off stream. I know that's probably not making the case for him right now, but he'll say stuff like that, and I'm like, that's. If I think he was actually racist and trying to hide it, I don't think he would say stuff like that.
So I mean, like my issue related to Asmongold and racism is I wouldn't say it's necessarily like racism. The term I use is like xenophobia. Like
100%. Yeah.
So
I don't think that's wrong. There's Japanese are xenophobic. I think and if they weren't, maybe we wouldn't have Japan. Like I think it's good to preserve cultures.
Well, yeah, maybe you can make that argument in some places, but like, how does it work in the United States? Because aren't we kind of like not to be like again super woke, but like aren't we kind of like a nation of other peoples, like of immigrants?
No, yeah, I agree with you, but that's when we have it where people are assimilating and people that actually love the country and want to come here. Like, and I appreciate how, and I've always said this, and I've been so frustrated because they never do this. Like, and I have this argument in the comments with people. Like on, like every now and then in the like right wing side, you'll see people in the comments being racist, and it's not as common as some people would think it would be. And there's people arguing against them, and I'm like, when Donald Trump says America, I would tell him like, when Donald Trump says Americans, like, what do you think? You think he's saying white Americans? You think he's just talking to you?
Yes.
And like I don't think so. I don't. And they've recently started actually, I think clarifying. Christy Noem has a commercial about it. J.D. Vance even said so on stage.
Yeah, I know they'll say a thing, but here's the thing, okay? And I actually in the past, and I guess even going forward, I blame liberals for this shit over like fixating on fucking words and stuff. Okay, I think that it's more problematic if you have a person who just like constantly says the N-word and the N-word and the N-word or whatever, and they just say racist jokes all the time or whatever, and even if they don't like black people or racial groups or whatever, like I think that that's bad. But I think that it's worse if you have a person who never says a racist slur or never utters a racist joke, but they say things like, I don't think a person from that background could ever properly assimilate to this country. But if they're not using a racial slur, people never consider it racism. But I think that second person, I think Asmongold does that a lot. I think that person is infinitely more harmful and infinitely more like actually racist than like a person who just says racist jokes, just does dumb shit, and maybe even is racist a little bit. Because like that other person, have you ever heard of the term like racial essentialism? Basically the idea that like culture comes from people's ethnic backgrounds or whatever. Like I do think that Asmongold believes that. I don't know if he's explicitly said it before, but I think that he thinks that like the chances of like a person of like a Somali background ethnically being able to assimilate to American culture, it's going to be much harder for that type of person. Like I think that he kind of subscribe.
Why do you think that?
Just because of the way that he talks about. Like, it's just, I don't think I would ever hear Asmongold ever. Let's say that a group of Swedes were discovered in the United States to be doing some fucking fraud or whatever, or Italians or whatever. Maybe there is some example, and I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But, like, I don't know if I would ever hear Asmongold saying things like, we need to deport these types of people from the United States. Like, Swedes are trying to scam us. Norwegians are trying to, get one over on the system. French people are trying to, I just don't know if he would ever talk about those groups of people the same way.
I mean, that's possible. But like when he talks about he doesn't talk about like he's never said anything like how certain people, there's no way anybody from that group could assimilate, or that those people shouldn't be allowed to try to come in. Anytime I've heard him talk about it, it's because there's a large scale of it, or because he'll say like because people like in the Somali stuff, like Tim Waltz allows it, or because they're scared to tell the people that they can't do this, or that they're scared to crack down on it. That's why it's been allowed to keep going and to make. And he says also it makes them like it's not good for their community because it makes them look bad. Like it makes their whole community look bad when it's not all their community. It's just certain people, and it's because they weren't like assimilated.
Yeah, but I don't hear those arguments as much. Well, it's making the Somali community look
maybe
bad.
It's because they're clipping them because like they only show you only see this crazy stuff that they'll clip out of them.
I mean,
like,
I watch his videos. I know there are people who Hassan and shit will do for sure. But I try to watch like his videos. Like if I'm missing something, this is also why I invite him to chat. Because if I'm missing something, I don't mind. Like I'm not here to clip assassin. I don't give a fuck about shit like that. People do that to me all the time. What do you do for what's like your biggest hobby or enjoyment? Is it like a game or music or?
Learn. I know it sounds corny, but like learn. Like I learn about certain like random stuff, anything that pops in my mind whenever I'm bored. Mm-hmm. I used to play soccer a lot, but
I guess like if you have a friend who's trying to like there are two types of frustrations I think when people are like learning a new hobby. If it's like playing an instrument or playing a game or whatever, where somebody will get frustrated with a thing, and every time they get frustrated, like I'm done, like I quit, like I'm done. Yeah. Versus like another person who gets like frustrated and they keep like trying it over and over and over again until they like get it. Right. The first person probably seems like they just don't give a fuck about the thing very much, but the second person genuinely really likes the thing, and even though they're getting fucking frustrated, they're like, I'm going to do it again. I'm queuing another game. I'm going to practice at a slower tempo, whatever the fuck. Right. And I feel like when I listen to people like Asmongold talk about immigrant problems with certain communities, and right now the minority community of the week is Somalians or Somalis. It's like when the answer is instantaneously deport them all, get them out of here, deport them, get them out of here. It's like, okay, well, this doesn't seem very solution oriented in terms of incorporating these people in our country. It seems like you just want to like remove this whole ethnic group from the country for whatever reason, because it's the flavor of the week, minority group to hate, and that's just like mega sus to me. It feels like, especially when it only happens towards communities of color.
Well, I don't think the issue is the fact that there was a lot of, or at least he believes, based on, I guess it could be lies from Trump, it could be whatever, but he believes the issue is the fact that there's been a ton of illegal immigration or illegal immigrants coming in, or people that come in, that are allowed to come in that don't want to be American, don't care to be American, don't have the best intentions for America, or like could care less what the fuck happens to America and us, and that there's problems here right now with Americans that need to be addressed.
Sure, and and real quick, I understand what you're saying, and like especially with the asylum process, this has definitely happened. But then again, I think you're running into that problem of like, why are we incorporating so many different groups with each other? Why are we grouping so many of these together? Because like Somali Americans don't have anything to do with like all the mass asylum seeking from South America, right? That was like a different type of problem. So why are we even speaking of these two things simultaneously?
Yeah, right. But that's really the part about him saying like stuff here needs to be fixed. Like there's problems here, there's issues here right now, and like we need to like people, they just need to go. They're here illegally in the first place.
Yeah, but not the Somali Americans. They're not illegally. That's not even the claim for that.
I'm talking about the other people.
Sure.
Like the other people. Like,
yeah,
just
sure.
In general, that's his whole prescription for everybody that came here illegally. Any race, doesn't care what color, doesn't care who you are. Like if you came here illegally, don't care. He don't even care your age. He think it could be old people. Regardless, they should be gone. All of them, everybody. It could just be because he's been convinced that. I mean, and there is some truth to like some of the issues that they cause, and like some lies that people say, like how we need them for certain jobs that Americans won't do when they only make up. There's like out of the 484 different jobs that that we have in America, there's only 6 that are even immigrant, like have a majority immigrant, and none of them are majority illegal immigrant. Like there's no job that they only make up like I think 5% or 1% or 5% of the entire workforce in those in the areas.
Sure, I mean, so. Yeah, sure. I don't. Okay, I'd have to see specifically what you're talking about. But even if I don't necessarily disagree with any of that, I guess when I look at Asmongold and the way that he talks about these groups, I only hear a solution that's put forth that basically says we need to get rid of all of them. I don't hear any solutions put forth that makes it seem like we want to incorporate any of these people into America, and it only seems to happen with groups of like other colored people. Do you think that like even if I'm not the most like diligent Asmongold viewer. Assuming that everything I've seen there is true, and maybe there's other stuff that's exculpatory, but like, do you understand how somebody could come to the impression like, ooh, maybe this guy just really doesn't like... Yeah.
Especially if you've just started watching them recently. Like, I started watching them actually from listening to you. I think I started watching them maybe April last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, April of last year. And the first time I'd heard him talk about groups of people was him defending them, and like talking about or defending them against people in his chats. Like that's why I know he's not, or that's why at least I believe he's not, unless he's recently become more xenophobic or racist. Well, not, I guess not xenophobic. Is that the same thing as like somebody like ethnic stuff?
Well, like I think it's a weird I guess actually it's a different kind of xenophobia. Because like he's xenophobic.
He's nationalist.
Yeah, but it's only towards like, it feels like certain ethnic groups. It's like the weird thing, I guess.
Well, what other like there's, we don't have a lot of immigration from white countries or illegal immigration from white countries.
Maybe not illegal immigration, but again, like this conflation between legal and illegal.
He would hate it if there was a white Christian country that they were trying to sneak in here. Sneak
in, yeah, but again, we're conflating like illegal immigrants with ordinary immigrants and everything else, right? I think it's, again, that conflation thing of all the different immigrants is a problem, but...
I don't think he talks about all immigrants. Like, I think he just talks about illegal immigrants. I could be mistaken, and it's just this the Somali thing recently. I mean, that could be different now because of the Somali thing that he talks about legal immigrants too.
If Donald Trump
he doesn't talk about any other group.
If Donald Trump tomorrow was to announce a ban on all just South American immigration, do you think that Trump would, or do you think that Asmongold would support that?
Like just South America, probably.
If Trump was to announce a ban on all European immigration tomorrow, do you think Asmongold would support that?
100%. 100%. Probably even more
Europe?
so.
You think so?
Probably even more so.
Okay.
He doesn't like Europeans specifically. But I meant to say, like, he's been covering the Iran stuff. Like, he's one of the only people. Also, this is another reason why, because he's one of the only people who covers like stuff that happens in random countries, like Nepal. He covered the stuff in Nepal. He covers the stuff right now in Iran, and like the amount of support and like making sure, like, the first thing you hear, last thing you hear, the whole time is only supporting the people and them defending themselves against their, I guess, their government. Like, that's the first thing he talks about. The same way he talks about it with the American people, like how he feels about here. That's all he talks about when he talks about it, and he's one of the only people who even brings this stuff up in the first place. So.
Did you hear when Asmongold was talking about how like we should have like people of similar cultures immigrating here, and like the UK would be a good example of this? Do you remember him talking about this at all, or no?
No, but I don't doubt it. But I mean that's true. I mean, and like that is true.
Okay, I'm just challenging.
I feel like when you say it,
I don't know if he would be okay with like banning all European immigrants. I feel like he would prefer. Yeah. Well.
I mean, if you're including the UK, like maybe not the UK, but I mean, like Europe, the group, like the landmass touching, yes, he'd be cool with that. Like when you said about the Asmon, about him getting his news from the feed or whatever, yeah, I agree with that. Like, that's fucking retarded, because there's arguments he'll make that are on my side that I don't agree with him, because he doesn't actually know what he's talking about, and he's not representing it right, and he just makes it look stupid. Like, but he does argue for it, and I don't agree with that. Like, I think he should actually research stuff and know why he feels the way he does. And sometimes I feel like he doesn't, and then he'll give an explanation that makes perfect sense, and like.
Can you think of, like, I'm curious, can you think of
them, but
is there like a single issue that you feel like he's talked about on stream over the past year or two that you feel like he's researched?
If not political, nothing political, no. Fuck no.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I don't think he researches any of that shit.
Is that kind of
like a good look?
Yeah, isn't that kind of problematic?
Yeah. But yeah. But he's directionally right. He's like I guess he's justified in his feelings about it, like, and he also, even he'll say when he does it, he's not 100% sure, and not all the time. Sometimes he'll say he's 100% sure about something that he's completely wrong about. But I mean, that's not a good.
Do you think he has like an obligation to do a little bit of reading or research, maybe?
I don't think he has an obligation because he doesn't have a group or people that he leads. He's just an entertainer, and it's
well,
it's
but
really
he's not
up
just
to,
an entertainer, right? Like, there's a lot of people who are probably exclusively getting news through him.
And but that's not his fault. They're fucking retards. Their parents are retards. Their school system was retarded. It's on them. Like that's not his.
Couldn't I say the same thing about like opiates? Why are we mad about China or South America? Like, shouldn't people just not do the drugs?
Yeah, I agree, and I think actually when you were saying that earlier, I actually do think they need to tell white people or anybody that's doing the shit that they were fucking retarded, and I think that's what people told me, and that helped. Like, people definitely need to know that they're retarded, but I also do think that the government's job is to protect. Like, that's literally in the social contract for them to, like, that's their role, protect the American people. Not to provide everything, but to protect us, and that's a way to protect.
If Asmongold knows that his audience is consuming him generally for political content, isn't there an obligation there that he has to produce like well-researched, well-informed opinions? Like, shouldn't he be aware of that and do better to produce content that is more informed?
No, and he'll even say this is what, like, that's what he believes. And he'll say like, even if he does say something that is what's the word, contradictory, he'll even say like, this is what I believe should happen, and that's why I think it should be law. Not because, or he says he doesn't even believe in laws. If something's illegal and it shouldn't be legal, then that's fine. Or if something is illegal and it shouldn't be illegal, then you shouldn't have to follow it. If something isn't illegal and it should be illegal, then they should just make it illegal and lock people up. And he does even make even more radical prescriptions for Trump that Trump needs to do. Like that's not a good thing, but I mean, he even tells people that that's his opinions.
I guess that just seems like a very weak, like no social responsibility kind of position to take. That you know that a bunch of people.
He's an entertainer.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if people are consuming your content as a way to become informed.
But there's a list. I know you do the, like, the whole reason I started watching you was because I thought liberals were fucking retards, liberals were retards and had the dumbest positions. Didn't think about them. Don't actually know how the world works. And then I listened to you, and I was like, you know what? This is an actual smart person. I can actually maybe learn what some of them actually think, or what they're, even if they're like how there's idiots in MAGA that just like Trump because for the social reasons. I can actually learn what y'all believe, and then I listen to you. But like, you've been wrong about some stuff tonight, and I wrote it down while you were talking to the people. I got it in front of me.
Yeah, what do you think I've been wrong about?
Okay, let's see some of the things. Let's see. Oh, the deportations. I think one source says this. I think it's the government though that says this. Like, there's going to be 2 million self deportations this year, and then there's 650 to like 800,000, or 650 to 750,000 detentions and expulsions.
I've heard.
But how could they?
Well, just real quick. So here's the issue that I have with the deportation thing, right? So Trump has claimed we're now up to, he said, 30 million people came into the country.
Well, Trump hasn't said 30. Trump said 25.
Trump said 30. That was the last number he gave.
Vance said 30 million.
Trump said 30 last time. Last he gave a number. We can find it. I know, because I look, he ups the number every time. But we'll say 25 million if you want. We can say 25 million. Donald Trump says there were 25 million illegals that came into this country. And going by what I believe the reported numbers from the government are, if we believe them, the upper bound of what we'll deport this year is probably going to be maybe 1 million. And I'm pretty sure that includes the self-deportations.
No. There's been 1.5 million. There was 1.5 million, like, the last numbers that they had, but they've been saying that since like July. But there was 1.5. There's 2 million. There would be on track to be 2 million.
Okay, there's
also liberal sources that have said this, because they're talking about.
Sure, let's say that I grant it. Let's say I just say 2 million. Okay, let's say it's 2 million this year. Well, if they've got the self-deportation program, it's probably going to be front-loaded. Like, most people will take it right. I doubt people are going to wait 4 years to take it, right? So that means that most of the people that are going to take it have taken it, and we've got 4 years his presidency, and this is probably going to be his most aggressive year in enforcing the deportation stuff, because it's when he had
next year they get way bigger. They have way more money and way more funding, way more people being hired next year.
The numbers are only going down from here. It's definitely not going up from this point. I think this
people keep fucking protesting and going crazy in the streets. Yeah, for sure. And
but that's part of. But
and the reason it's so bad.
Wait.
Sanctuary cities.
But that's Trump's fault, right? He's the president. He's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to bring the country together on this issue. We should all want like criminals and illegal aliens to be deported from this country. So why is he so incapable of getting people to agree on this? It should be like one of the easiest issues ever. No.
No, because they just literally just hate Trump. They'll do, and this I'll give you an example of how 100%. No matter what Trump says, if Trump is the one who brings it up, they will immediately go against it. Like for when Obama was president, the liberal like California, then they all helped. They did the same. They did what Trump asked them to do and what Tom Homan said they needed to do since January. All they have to do is let them get them from the jails, and they will not have to go into their communities to get the people. But because Trump said it, no, there's no way they're going to do it. And an example
wait.
No tax on tips.
Sure, wait, real quick. For the immigration thing, what do you think is the big difference, though, between like Trump and Obama? Why do you think people might be more cooperative with Obama than they would under Trump?
Because they've hated Trump and gone crazy about Trump since 2016. It was the same way in 2016.
Don't you think maybe it's because when Trump talks about immigration or deportations, he comes off as like a cruel, vindictive, malicious individual, and it doesn't feel like he has any compassion for any of the people involved at all? Like, isn't that always going to make people less likely to cooperate with you?
You know, one way to stop that is to
wait, hold on. I just need to understand real quick. Doesn't Trump talk about it way more maliciously and vindictively than any other president I can remember, even Bush, anybody, has ever talked about immigrants or dealing with illegal immigrants?
Not immigrants, but dealing with legal immigrants, yes. But it's got, since this year, like since this term, yes, since he was proven right. From his first term about needing the wall and shit, and they said no, they shut down the government in 2018, I think.
None of that necessitates him
fucking funding to build a wall.
None of this necessitates him having to be cruel about it, right? When someone starts acting cruel, people are going to look at your motivations and start to second guess why you're doing the thing you're doing. That's Trump's fault. He has nobody to blame but himself.
He's not really being cruel.
Alligator Alcatraz, dog.
He didn't come up with that name.
Doesn't matter. He supported it, and they advertised on it, and they memed on it. They posted videos in front of cages of illegal immigrants with that
specific one is one that they mainly put people that committed crime, like had committed crimes. People.
But it doesn't matter. Crime is a sad thing, and people are committing crimes. It's a sad thing. All of it is a sad thing. When you're like doing
the people getting crimes committed against.
Well, for everybody, for the fact that anybody would even have to commit a crime. All of these are sad. These are bad things. We don't want people to commit crimes.
I used to be a criminal. No, they should fucking be punished. They're criminals.
Sure, but they should also not commit the crime, right? That's
but you know what? But look, that's what I'm saying though. It wouldn't be as bad, and their shit wouldn't be as crazy if they just listened and in the first place had just handed over the criminals. Then Tom Homan said it a million times. They will not have to even go into the cities if they just give them up.
So you think there's no possible way that Trump could have handled the situation like a better leader?
Oh yeah, 100%, 1,000,000%.
Okay. Trump has nobody to blame but himself for why everybody is so aggressive against his position on immigration. He talks about it with like he's the most cruel sounding person, and when you're celebrating the alligator Alcatraz things, you're posting all the crazy videos, you're having ICE run around with masked men and everything, like you're making it look as bad as possible. Why would you expect anybody to cooperate with you?
You know, Trump hasn't always been like this. It got a lot like this whole thing's been exacerbated by him, just the way he was attacked and maligned his first term.
Well, because he also
did a lot of anything to do with it.
No, I think it does, but he also had he did a lot of bad stuff his first term. But I mean, that's his fault. He's bringing it on himself.
Just the fact, like even when he was running, even when he just first became, like just the amount of lies and crazy stuff that they like people that the media.
Even when he came in on the first thing, what was he? What did he say? He was going to clean out the deep state, drain the swamp. He launched a war against the entire government, and
not the media. It wasn't the media though.
He attacked the media as well. He attacked all these people.
Once they started attacking him, and he's a fucking he's an egotistical, narcissistic person, and he can't deal with that. And that's also one reason why part of the MAGA movement has gotten so bad.
Wait, do we want a president who's egotistical and narcissistic? Isn't that really bad?
Yes, you can. No, I mean, yes, it can be bad. It can be good. There's nothing just one thing, like nothing just bad or good. It has pros and has cons.
What are the pros to being narcissistic?
Can be a bad thing. Like the ability to like when they have a plan or something that they need to do to focus on it and get it done, or even if they know it's good for the country but the media as a whole is attacking them.
But if he's narcissistic, he doesn't care about what's good for the country. He just cares about what's good for his own ratings. No.
Yeah, and as long as the people that I guess the MAGA people support him, then he'll keep doing it. Like, it's not just his fault. Like, this liberals and the media have a lot to blame for that too. He's not all bad. Like,
what did Obama? Can you name a single thing? What was what's the worst thing that like Obama did when it came
American citizens?
When it came
Obama.
Hold on. When it came to dealing with like negative media feedback, you agree that like Obama got it real bad from the conservative media, right?
Super bad. Yeah, but not like to that degree.
Probably. Well,
I don't know. I was a little kid.
So what was what do you think? What was the worst response that Obama had to like negative media coverage?
He's a different person though. Like, it doesn't.
A better person, right? A better person.
But they, 100% better person. But they didn't like specific like attack. Bro, come on, it's uniquely crazy the way they've attacked him.
I agree, but it's also because Trump has been uniquely crazy.
Originally it was just because he was a fucking idiot. That was the original reason why, but they just kept on.
Well, being an idiot is bad though. If you're the president of the United States, you'd hope you'd be pretty intelligent, no?
Yeah, I mean, like he, for the business and like certain things he is smart about, but like,
I don't know about that, but
so, like social intelligence maybe not as much. But there's other things that you've said that was.
Well, I guess hold on. So just to center, like the media is mean to Trump, but Trump explicitly made an enemy of the media, right?
But he didn't at first. Like,
he did.
There was even a I forget who it was that talked about it. Somebody that was there, like how he thought it was going to be all nice and cozy, and was like trying to make jokes with the media and was so like inviting towards them, and the way they immediately started attacking them and stuff. And then like there's even, I think that was like the video when he started first saying fake news.
Yeah,
like
because that's because he went from being a celebrity.
About it, he was fucking tired of it.
Because he went from being a celebrity, right, to being a politician. The media is going to be way more
being
critical
loved to being hated. Yeah.
Well, to two sides, it's politics, right? But if he's not prepared for that, then maybe he just should have never gone into politics. Maybe he's just not the person for it, and he should have never been supported going into politics.
Right, but I mean, if there's that's like if that's our side, and then the other side is only bad, like Trump's policy stuff is good for the right wing, but his like it comes with some negatives in the political sense.
Okay, sure.
But
I mean, if we can agree, well,
policies are only bad.
Okay, fine. That's fine. Yeah, I agree that would be
about.
true, right? But we can agree then that at the very least, like Trump's approach to the media and everything is just a strict negative. There's no good excuse for it. He should be an adult and not be a baby about the media, right? He shouldn't be like suing pollsters.
I mean, how would you? Okay, so another when you say talk about this stuff, I mean, some of the lawsuits I don't think are bad at all. I think he's wrong for his lawsuit against Pulitzer, that lady.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he thinks that she was trying to influence the election by making people think that he wasn't doing as bad purposely, which I think that's a bad one. That's stupid. But the rest of them, they settled it. If they thought that they could easily win and Trump was wrong, they would not have just settled it. Like
wait. Don't you think they were worried about engaging in an active lawsuit against the president of the United States when the president of the United States can determine whether or not like your company's mergers go through or not?
Fuck no, they would love that. They would love to have a reason to be like, look, see, Trump is persecuting us. They know they would have lost if George Stephanopoulos took the shit about George Stephanopoulos to trial. And there's plenty of things that people have said about Trump that could have some truth to it that he hasn't sued about. He's only sued about stuff that are actually illegal.
We literally saw them do. Well, we don't know that. That's not true. So, like, he sued all the social media platforms for banning his accounts because he said it was a First Amendment violation. That's probably
that could be. Yeah, that could be.
But like we saw with Kimmel, we saw him pressuring, and the FCC guy talk about having their affiliates pulled or whatever, or the licensing from their affiliates pulled because of
wasn't Trump. That was just that guy.
Well, but the guy was working under Trump, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't Trump that told him to do that.
Trump truthed out that he supported that decision, and he's constantly talked about getting rid of these people.
Said he supported the decision.
Yes, so the president supported the deplatforming, or the government censorship of somebody saying bad things about him, right?
Yeah, the FCC, the thing that's supposed to actually
censor people who say bad things about the president of the United States. No, it's not
bad things about the president. No, but there's guidelines that I think it's to.
How is it that Asmongold, the largest political streamer in the world, has no responsibility for what he says, but Jimmy Kimmel has to be treated like a journalist when he's just an entertainer?
Because he's on a government, because he is on a FCC regulated platform.
Yeah, but he didn't break any FCC regulations. He didn't swear or say anything like that.
Actually, if the thing about the FCC is it says you have to promote the social welfare of the American people as one of the things that they're in charge of. I mean, it's questionable.
No, come on. It was government censorship.
I mean, that is what it says. I mean,
this was government censorship. If Obama or Biden would have done this, you would have lost your mind.
I wouldn't have lost my mind. I've never really.
You just wouldn't have cared
that stuff that much. No, I've honestly never really cared about that stuff as much. Even when
so then if a Democrat wins,
they can get rid of whoever they want. Yeah.
If Newsom is president next election cycle, and Newsom starts deplatforming radio hosts or cable TV people who are saying bad things about him because he thinks they're lies, you're gonna be like, oh, it's the president, he can do that.
As long as they can justify it,
he'll justify it by saying it's not a social welfare. They're lying about me.
Yeah, I say yeah.
Don't you think that's a bad country that we want the president of the United States making the unilateral decision to deplatform like news orgs and stuff?
I mean, if it's under the executive branch, I mean, that just means Congress needs to do some shit to make the laws better. And by the way, Bill, you think so? You said that the party, all the people in this Congress right now need to be kicked out because they're okay with what Trump did with Maduro.
Well, yeah, I think it's really bad. Yeah.
Okay, so you think every Democrat that was in there when Bill Clinton was president should be kicked out? Bill Clinton did the same thing when the president of Panama, and then didn't tell him until after he did it.
What was the? I would have to get more details on the situation for the Panama stuff. I saw that was the conservative talking points that went out this morning, but I haven't done my research on that. And given that everything else they said is totally incorrect,
I mean, they did.
What was Bill Clinton's stated mission or goal for it? Or wait, are you talking about George Bush? Are you talking about Bush Sr.?
No, I think it was Bill Clinton. It could have been Bush, but I'm pretty sure it was Bill Clinton.
Okay, I think this was Bush Sr. But even for the Panama thing, I would have to go and read more specifically about it before I develop an opinion on it.
Well, they didn't tell him till after. So I mean, I don't think it's that crazy that Trump did it. And it's not like this is the very first thing he did. I mean, he's been talking about like things that Venezuela needed to do or could do. Like, it's not like it's the very first thing he did. But I think there's other things he's done that, what you were saying earlier about how it's not a good look for like other countries, like the dumb shit about Denmark, or not Denmark, from Denmark, Iceland, or Greenland.
What do you think is like the worst? That's not a good look. I'm curious. Of all the things that Trump has done this year, what do you think is the worst thing Trump has done in your eyes? Yeah.
This year? Oh, my God. The coin shit, his actually starting to be fucking, I think is actual corrupt. Like, that's corrupt. That's stupid. I don't like it. I don't know how the fuck they could justify it if the Democrats ever want to impeach him for annulments and shit. I think that would be the best. That's the only thing that they should try if that was their goal. That I don't think you can really argue if it truly what he did was illegal ever since the word. You can't argue that. Like, that's crazy. Shouldn't be doing that. Fucking.
Are you talking about his?
I think people are buying pardons from him. Huh?
Are you talking about his crypto coin? Is that what you're talking about?
That the plane possibly. I don't think so, because I also think his work with those people are one of the reasons why gas prices are going lower.
With which
I think
people?
He's doing that for the American people, the Saudis. That's one reason why gas is getting lower. Literally, he asked that guy to lower the oil prices, and they did. Like, he's doing that for the American people. But the fucking what did I just say?
The crypto coin you said was bad.
But there was something else. I think he's buying I think he's fucking. People are paying him for pardons.
Okay.
I think so. Oh, but you've said before. You said this a couple times, because when he said he didn't know that guy, that billionaire.
Yeah.
That's he clear, like, the lady asked him later on, and he even explained he knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly what he was in trouble for and all that stuff. But he was saying he personally doesn't know him, but his sons personally knew him, and they asked him to. He didn't say he literally didn't know anything about the guy being pardoned. He was saying he didn't know the guy.
Do you think that there's anything in the totality of the Biden admin and Obama admin that like is on the level of corruption related to like the pardons or the coin?
Nope, not at all. As far as personal corruption, nope. But I think I don't know about Obama, but for Biden, I don't think it was good for the country, and I don't think it was his fault. I think it was his party's fault. And if you listen, there's a great fucking what's it called? Interview on that guy you don't like, the Shamat guy, the All In podcast or whatever that podcast.
Yeah.
Smollett?
No. What?
Oh, okay.
Did you say Jussie
The Indian
Smollett?
guy.
Smollett?
Indian
Or whatever
No,
the
he's
guy's
talking
name
about Chamath or whatever.
Shamat.
Or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, maybe it's not.
With Joe Manchin, you gotta watch it. You have to watch it, and you also have to watch that John Thune's thing to Congress about the ACA subsidies. This is completely separate, but you need to watch that too.
And then in the totality of Trump's
On
5
stream.
years so far in office, like besides I guess immigration stuff, like what is the thing you're happiest I guess that Trump has done?
Well, this is going to sound stupid to you, but I also think it's one of the reasons why I hated Biden. Just the directionally the social, conservative social direction of the country. Like I think it's good to balance it out and for people to have different perspectives.
What's like the conservative social stuff that
also,
you feel like
I
Trump
think
has pushed the
BAD
best? Just like the trans stuff,
or just allow. No, I don't really care about the trans stuff in certain states. Like I think certain state, like if a state wants, I don't think you should be able to do it to children. But I hate how they kept on about that. I hate when Trump talks and keeps on about talking about Biden and how bad Biden was and shit. I wish he'd move the fuck on and just worry about him like his shit now. But I don't.
And you said that you thought for Biden, you thought all the policies were bad.
I wouldn't say all the policies. I like the CHIPS Act.
The infrastructure bill.
The dumbest shit he could have done was that second of his round of stimulus. That was the dumbest shit he could have did. That was the worst thing he did.
Why?
I think it was the IRA because it wasn't needed. I think like shit was starting to rebound. The first one was good enough. The Democrats really got it was written by the Democrats. They got what they needed the first time, and this one was just for the businesses. It was really the Green New Deal just rewritten because they couldn't get a lot of the shit in there. It was fucking it was social. What do they call it? It was just for the fucking big businesses. It was just free money for the businesses.
Wasn't the biggest free money for businesses the PPP thing that Trump did?
But that was like for all businesses. This one wasn't needed though, and it killed him. It caused inflation to keep going and get even worse.
Didn't the U.S. like outperform most other countries when it came to inflation?
Well, we are the reserve currency. We should have did better than other countries.
Yeah, so I feel like if we could do more stimulus and prevent unemployment and everything, I feel like that'd be a good thing, no? Like we came out of COVID like pretty well.
But it wasn't needed. If we needed it, yes.
How do we know? I feel like we came out better than everybody else. You're saying maybe we could have done even better, maybe, but I mean we did.
Well, economists even said at the time we didn't need it. Joe Manchin even told him that we didn't need it. Like that they were advised in their committees and stuff that it was not needed. And there was a shit ton of stuff in there. It was literally just free money for NGOs. Like a lot of the shit in there was free money for NGOs. It was a shit ton of pork. Like, I know they say that stuff, but if you look, Joe Manchin talks about it. He wrote a book about it and talked about how and it wasn't Biden's fault. I don't think it was Biden's fault. It was the people around him in there. Is what Joe thinks. When
you talk about how we're the reserve currency of the world, so we should outperform everybody, does it bother you that Trump is threatening the U.S. reserve currency status?
Yep. There's a shit ton of stuff that Trump does that bothers me. But one thing, I don't think he can have any. It's hard to have any criticism or constructive criticism because, for one, MAGA's in defense mode. And this is another thing. I don't think we've ever realized it or been able to realize it until it happens to you. When people are being attacked so much, it's hard to ever one time be like, you know what, you're right, this is wrong, because you have to defend.
Yeah, but Obama and Biden were defending constantly for the entirety of their term, and most of the accusations weren't true. I don't know about Biden. What do you mean? They were accusing Biden of being senile. They were playing the Hunter Biden shit nonstop.
I mean Obama.
For Obama, they complained about all the race stuff. They called him a socialist and a communist. The conservatives attacked him relentlessly.
I mean, it could be, but there's no way it was to the same degree. And for one, Democrats have all the institutions. They have them. the culture. They had the culture the whole time in the media. Like there was no way. It was not the same. It's not the same. And y'all had the culture and all the institutions when Trump was attacked. So like that's even more makes them feel like more in a defensive posture. And he even fought off the Republican
like Trump's injection into U.S. politics was literally the fucking birther thing. Like it was him
saying.
You
know where he got that from? Hillary Clinton.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The first time it came out was when Hillary Clinton was running in the.
No, Trump tried the birther thing in 2012, like even before.
Yeah, but the first time that ever came out was I'm talking about from Hillary Clinton. The first time when Obama was running.
No.
From the first time.
Listen, even if I granted you this, even if I were to grant you this, why would that excuse Trump basically running on it?
I think he believed it. I think he believed it. It was stupid. Like they even I don't know if it's fake or not, but like there was a whole thing where they compared it to some dumbass.
If he believed it, isn't he so incompetent that we would never want this person to be president anyway?
Well, no, this just came. This came out recently about like.
He pushed this birther thing for like 6 months. He did this birther thing for a long time. He believed it. Yeah, but like if he's that stupid.
But listen, at the time it came out, like it was fake. They thought it was fake because the writing was exactly the same from at another hospital, somebody else's. Like it just looked like it was copied, and they just wrote Obama's name, Barack Hussein Obama, over somebody else's shit because all the other stuff was the same. But I don't think that was the real one. And there's a shit ton of people who fell for it.
Well, yeah, because people like Trump pushed it.
The lies. That's how Trump fell for it. There was other people that at the time were falling for the same shit that Trump was. I don't think Trump made it as popular as y'all say he did.
This is like the big thing that he ran on. Yeah.
No.
Well, initially, in the early parts of the election, yeah, he pushed this, and I shouldn't say he ran on it, but it was like one of the things that he pushed the hardest that kind of like catapulted him, at least to the forefront of American during that primary season. Because in the beginning, he was like a 1%, nobody cared or whatever, and then there were more things, and then the primary continued. But that birther thing was a big thing, I think, that he initially pushed. And he'd been pushing it for a long time. He'd been pushing that for like 4 or 5 years. Like he was tweeting.
I've heard about him pushing it before, but during his, I've heard that he used to talk about it. I think he talked about it on even like a show. But I don't think there's no way he was doing that for the election stuff, because I followed him. I was in like 9th grade, and I've never heard about it during that. But
so in 2011, the Obama White House released his original long form birth certificate. And then in 2012, Trump tweeted that he had an, quote, extremely credible source, end quote, who told him the birth certificate was a fraud. In 2013, he raised suspicion about the death of a Hawaii health official who verified copies of Mr. Obama's birth certificate. In 2014, he asked hackers to access Mr. Obama's college records and check his place of birth. And then as recently as this month, Mr. Trump did not back away from his past support of the birther cause. Quote, I don't talk about it because if I talk about that, your whole thing will be about that, end quote, Trump said. So I don't talk about it. And this was in
2016?
2016, yeah.
Yeah, he said he don't talk about it no more.
Well, but that's him. He's still agreeing with it.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's not like he was pushing it. I mean, maybe he found out he was wrong and just didn't want to admit it. But like for a while, like the shit that you were talking about, the guy had to come out and say that. Like the whole reason he released it in the first place was because people were trying to say it was. There was a shit ton of people at the time saying that it wasn't real or that he wasn't actually born here. So he released it, and then there was then people trying to say that the Hawaiian that was written like it was copied from another thing. That's the whole reason that shit came out. It was a big thing. Like at one time, I even remember when I was little hearing about it, them talking about it on the news, and I mean that's right when we watched CNN. But I mean, there's other things you said though. Hold on, let me see.
I got 12 more callers, Steve. Do you want another one?
Give him one more thing before we bring in another DGGer to give the most like tepid
I'll just do my
I got Asmoners.
Yeah, we'll
best
see.
one real quick. Let's see my best one. Damn, there's a shit ton. Okay, so when you say that stuff about fuck. Okay, when you say that stuff about what's his name? Rich guy, Elon.
Yeah.
Do you can you really blame him for Doge not working?
Yes.
How? When his cars are getting firebombed, he's attacked maliciously in the media. There's people stopping other people that just drive his cars and keying them. Always being attacked, his life threatened, his company's tanking because people are blowing up his car or firebombing his dealerships, and being sued out the fucking ass 100 times by several different people and for everything he tries to do just for accessing the records to even begin to audit, like, how's that his fault? Like, how can you blame him for it failing when he tried everything he could, and he even tried to even though he stepped down, left his people there so that they could update the infrastructure, the way that the shit runs. But like people started to say he was trying to steal information and all this shit. Like, how is that his fault? Like, of course it was a good idea. People that can still do it, they left the people there to do a little bit of it. But like, how's that his fault?
Here's this is like a general issue, I guess, that I have. This is going to be really negative later. I'm sorry, okay, but like one of the biggest selling points that the conservatives have for their leadership is that you guys have like the strong, manly men and like the based people with the big backbones to do the thing that needs to be done. When I look at like founding stories and like American history, it's usually like a lot of these people are people that acted with just an insane amount of bravery, courage, intelligence. When you look at like all of the problems that beset Washington's army when he had to cross the Delaware, and all these people wanted to leave, and Philadelphia was thinking that the war was lost. Like all of these people are fighting against insurmountable odds. Okay, and in U.S. history, it's been like that over and over and over and over again. It's been fighting against these huge odds. When Reagan went to the wall in East Germany and said, Gorbachev, tear down this wall, it's like the Soviet Union is this massive thing. People didn't know it was going to collapse, right? And then when it comes time to talk about Trump and it comes time to talk about Elon, like it's so many excuses. Like, well, wasn't the media mean to him? Well, in Elon, didn't they firebomb 7 cars? And like, didn't they say these bad things? And like, wouldn't you be mad? And it's like, why is it so many excuses? Like, motherfucker, these guys are the richest people in the world. Elon Musk almost has a net worth of $1 trillion. This guy is so rich. These people have so many resources, and these are supposed to be the people leading us into a better tomorrow. And we're treating them like they're Twitter celebs. Like, well, if so many people mean tweeted at this guy, like, doesn't it make sense that he would also have this reaction? Like, why can't we expect more or better from these people? Like, maybe the president of the United States shouldn't be suing people or pressuring people because they said bad things about him on the news. Or maybe Elon Musk, the richest guy on the planet, shouldn't be upset that people are mad at him because he's participating in one of the most divisive administrations in U.S. history. That's not a surprising thing. Like, if these people aren't cut out for the job, then they just shouldn't do it. And more importantly, people like you shouldn't support them doing it. I don't understand how you can have this constant stream of excuses for these people who need to man the fuck up and do their job and not cry all the time about people being mean to them on social media. Just log the fuck off, no?
People firebombing them. 53% of people at the time of liberals said that it'd be okay to murder Trump, and 47% said it'd be okay to murder Elon Musk.
Yeah, and Trump is truthing out that it'd be okay to try and execute sitting congressmen. It was like 10 cars. Who cares?
Okay. You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying, I don't understand how there are so many excuses for these people. Like, why can't they just do their fucking job? Like, put the job in the bag and do your job as a government official. I can't, otherwise, like, get them out and bring somebody in who's not going to cry all the time. I don't remember, Obama got attacked relentlessly by the media. Maybe not as much as Trump, but Trump is just doing so many crazy fucking things. Like, that's to be expected, Like, it's just crazy to me because it feels like an analog to some extent, except everybody swapped roles, where Trump is the black community and conservatives have become liberals, and Trump is out here committing all these crimes and doing all these horrible things. And then, the conservatives are like, well, I don't know why you guys are going after him so much. And it's like, well, because he's doing all the fucking crime. But like, if you flip this onto, some racial thing, you flip this onto crime stuff, liberals are like, why do you guys go after black people? Because it's like, well, let's be realistic. They're committing all the crime. But you understand it there. But then when it comes to Trump, like, nobody has done the things that he's doing. Nobody has been as antagonistic as he's being. Nobody has done these same things as crazily and over and over and over again. Like, why did Trump, like, I'm curious, in your mind, why didn't Trump run with the same vice president that he won last time with?
Because he didn't care if the motherfucker got murdered. I mean, that's crazy. Shit was crazy. That was horrible. It was bad.
So like
egotistical?
Yeah, egotistical, narcissistic, weak, like spineless. Like he's just not a good man. He's not a good person. Like his family life is terrible. He lies. He makes names for people.
His kids are awesome. Everybody talks about how awesome his kids are.
He saw fucking porn stars while his wife was at home with her 2-month-old.
That's him. Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and his children are scammers, right?
Not all of them. Maybe one of them.
They're his children. Is actual.
No, Ivanka's the shit. I mean, bro, people. You should hear the way people talk about his children. His children are awesome. People that don't like him. Bill Maher. Like, there's people that talk about his children that they couldn't believe that those kids came from Donald Trump.
They're scammers. All of them are in scam businesses. We got the scam cell phone that nothing is coming out. We've got Witkoff and the scam crypto stuff and all the scam.
I don't like Witkoff. Witkoff's a piece of shit. I mean, Trump's not. I don't like. I just like Trump because directionally, He's doing he's got it. He's doing the right shit.
The direction is into the ground. There's not going to be any legislation about immigration. There's not going to be any balanced budget. There's not going to be any legislation about housing price or anything else. I don't know if there's going to be any legislation. I don't know if Trump knows what Congress is.
No. I mean, but look, if he doesn't, if the Democrats will literally never vote for anything, like, what's the point? And also, isn't Trump in the executive branch?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the legislative branch. That's their job.
No,
Trump,
but you work with them. You're the leader.
Powers,
No, but you work with them. He doesn't use them because he's trying to do it all on his own via executive order.
Well, that's because that's because the Democrats will not pass anything. They wouldn't even pass like the.
Why was Biden able to get the Republicans to pass stuff? You have to work with them. What has Trump even presented them?
Aren't crazy.
What is Trump? Trump has presided over 2 of the longest shutdowns in all of government history. Is that just a coincidence? It's because of the Democrats.
The first one was because he wanted to. Yes, it is because.
How is it always everybody else's fault but his? Even when they have a majority in Congress, it's still the Democrats' fault.
It literally is. It literally is just like some of the other shit's Trump's fault. They will not vote for anything that Trump wants. Just like with the no tax on tips. They said that was part of their campaign or campaign during.
Come on, at some point the buck has to stop with Trump.
Now they won't even fucking pass it because Trump,
at some point he has to have some responsibility. It's just a coincidence that 8 out of the 10 largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. Is that just because of the media?
Yeah, that is because of the media and because Donald Trump falls for the crazy shit that the liberals out there protesting about. He falls for the bait.
The Republicans lost their House majority seat for the first time in any Congress in U.S. history. Was that the Democrats' fault? That McCarthy and all those guys, they lost their majority seat and they voted them out and it took like 30 votes to reseat somebody? It was like 3 weeks.
It's their own fault for changing the rules to be able to do it.
But this is all like MAGA shit. These guys are all...
That wasn't MAGA. That was when Trump, they were like, they changed that rule whenever Trump was ousted, when Trump wasn't supposed to be part of the party anymore. But I don't want you to be mad at me. I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Appreciate listening to you.
Yep.
Hopefully I can talk to you again one day. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on and chatting. I appreciate it.
Yeah. They're gone. All right. Globby is the next one, and they're a real Asmon viewer, is what I'm told.
A real Asmon viewer. Oh, boy.
Globby.
Wait, I have this person blocked, so they must be a real Asmon viewer. Hold on.
Yeah, unblock him. Hold on.
No, I have to unblock him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Globby, go ahead.
All right. So I'm a long-time follower, long-time viewer. Like, I remember the Baneling analogy. And your poggers.
And you are an Asmongold viewer now, right?
I am an Asmongold viewer. I was checked at the gates, and they checked my papers, and they verified I'm an Asmongold viewer.
Based. Wait, real quick, Mooten, is there what is the next thing you need for your expedition? Just tell me the item, so I know it's a farm. Figure it out and type it to me. Okay, go, Globby. Yeah. What's up?
So I like Asmongold. I like you. I don't think his Asmongold is as bad as you think he says, and you're pretty cool yourself. I obviously have had the benefit of being able to watch your stream for like the last hour and being able to look at sources to show that you're wrong in a couple of things.
Okay.
So you said, and I quote, "I feel Italians are the perfect example of everything horrible for an immigrant group. Larger,
I feel like, wait,
organized crime."
Could you repeat that? I feel like what was the second word you said? I feel Italians
are the perfect
Italians.
example of everything horrible for an immigrant group. They have the largest organized crime. Little Italy's. I don't think we ever banned Italian immigration or stopped Italian immigration. So the 1924 Immigration Act, specifically, I don't know if it's specifically targeted, but it definitely had a massive impact on Italian immigration. It actually had the biggest impact on Italian immigration.
Okay. Did we mass deport any of them afterwards?
I don't know if we mass deported them afterwards, but...
Okay.
But we restricted their immigration because we don't like them.
Okay.
Just want to bring that up.
Gotcha.
Of all the ethnic groups, another one, has there ever been a white one or darker ones? So you were talking with a guy, like, I guess 2 hours now, about whether or not Trump has picked out white people or non-brown / dark people out of the crowd. Trump has many times over been anti-European, anti-NATO, specifically anti-Germany, many times in his rhetoric. I would just want to bring that up. Obviously, Trump isn't just picking out Somalians and Venezuelans and basically brown people, but he's also been anti-white people in general. I don't think that necessarily Trump is a racist. He's also gone out of his ways to be like, hey, there's problems with these quote unquote white countries as well.
I don't necessarily disagree with that for Trump. I feel like I've heard Asmongold make statements. I was going to watch some clips between those just to refresh my mind relating to white people. I feel like Trump is more xenophobic than just strictly racist. But I do feel like there's a very disproportionate focus on brown countries, though. So like when he tries to do his like Muslim bans multiple times, when he talks about, you know, was it Somalia or some other country being a shithole country? When he thought like a Mexican American judge couldn't like rule favorably in his case because they would be too biased. When he talks about, you know, it's okay to, Vance was the one who said it was okay to make up information about Haitians eating cats and dogs. Like I feel like directionally it's generally pointed in that direction. The Haiti stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be natural to point in that direction, considering obviously people who are of a first world nation would probably have less, I guess, less of a relationship with people from third world countries, right? So I would anticipate there would be more criticism towards, you know, the 80% of the population rather than the 20%, right?
What can you clarify what you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, white people are like 10% of the world population, right?
Okay.
So you would anticipate that 90% of his critique of quote unquote foreigners would be like 90% non-whites and 10% whites, right? Probably.
Maybe. I don't know if that would apply necessarily to immigrant groups in the United States, but I guess backing up, I guess my big issue isn't well, no, it would still be the targeting of these groups. But I think my big issue is the fact that so many of the things that he brings up are just like lies, and they're okay with it. So like that whole the whole concept of Haitians or anybody eating dogs, like all of that was based on one guy going to some city council thing and basically just making a bunch of shit up, like on a Facebook post. Like there was never any proof of anybody eating cats or dogs in the street. Like a couple random weird videos that didn't show that it all got posted and people thought it, but that was just not a true thing. So when you're making up false things to attack groups of people who all happen to be non-white, like at some point it looks a little bit sussy, I would say, or we're probably past the sussy thing. The whole Tren de Aragua and MS-13 thing, even though conservatives will rewrite memory hole or rewrite history now, like he talks about these things like these were like every American was freaking the fuck out about Tren de Aragua and MS-13. I don't think that was the case. I think that these were problems that he wanted everybody to care about, and they repeated it so often. Now people are like obsessively thinking about or worried about like MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, but these were not like huge problems that the American people were so worried about. I don't believe that's true.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know about any of that. I just wanted to bring up the points that Trump obviously has targeted ethnic groups or groups of people that are non-minority pretty often, especially when it comes to anti-NATO and anti-European sentiment.
Sure, but that's a different thing. That's foreign policy, not necessarily domestic policy. Like foreign policy-wise, I could say the easiest thing to point to would be Ukraine, right? In that he hasn't been good at helping those white people.
Yeah, sure. I just took issue with the particular statements you made. Like, obviously, he has targeted ethnic groups that are not immigrant, not brown, etc. Right?
Sure, I get, but I'm talking when I'm talking. The reason why I say xenophobic and not racist, though, like it's kind of weird to talk about like xenophobic foreign policy. Like I feel like xenophobia is almost always going to apply to your own domestic population because xenophobia is usually like keeping outsiders out and only allowing your own group in, kind of.
Is sussy an argument or like a position?
What do you mean?
Well, you said it was sussy.
As in, it appears that his xenophobia is like somewhat, well, sometimes it can be racially motivated. For Asmongold, I think. I don't know as much for Trump. It kind of feels like it's a little bit racially motivated, yeah. But Trump, my criticisms about Trump are generally that of xenophobia, not usually racism. I don't know about Asmongold sometimes. It's weird when he starts making... Whenever I hear people start making arguments about how like these people have a different type of culture and they can't assimilate or whatever as well as other people... I feel like I've heard Asmongold say things about like, well, if you come from this country, you're not going to assimilate as well, you know, coming from other countries. That starts to get a little bit weird because I don't know how far they're taking that. But it's also hard because these people live in echo chambers.
You don't think that's true? That some countries have a better tendency than others to assimilate?
Generally speaking, I think that's probably true. I would imagine on average, if you were to take like an average like Somali and an average German and put them in the United States, the Germans are probably on average going to assimilate better. But the big issue that nobody ever talks about when it comes to immigration is we never get averages from other countries, right? We're generally always getting exceptional people from other countries because it's a long journey to immigrate here, right? Coming across an ocean, like you just go to Europe if you're poor or you're trying to like illegal immigrate. We don't have a bunch of illegal immigrants from Africa coming to the United States. Where were we? When I talk about Trump, I'm generally focusing on the xenophobic thing, but my arguments about Trump aren't necessarily the same about Asmongold all the time. It just differentiate between those two things, yeah.
Well, right. Like, is it that immoral to be like, hey, like a particular, like, I'm not going to say race, but like a perceived race. Like, if like a perceived race has like values that are not in line with the values of the country that you're in, right? And there's another one of a perceived race that they definitely do, right? I mean, do you think it's okay to discriminate against one or another?
Just
Like.
So
like,
wait, hold on. Okay, so this is a big issue that I have. Okay, is that like, okay, this is the reason why I hate conservatives the most. Okay, and people like Asmongold the most is because I think that there's actually good conversation that could happen here that I think needs to happen, but we can't have it because all of the people that are having it are just racist or xenophobic. So like, I actually think that there's a valid conversation to be had about having like a certain value set for Americans that, you know, people coming to this country should probably share. Now, I don't know how specific I would make this or not specific, but like, for instance, somebody who wants to immigrate who thinks that like rape and murder should be legal is probably not somebody I would say who's like compatible with American culture. And I think it's okay to have that argument. But when that argument seems to only apply to ethnic groups from a group of people who seem to be like xenophobic against just certain ethnicities, it makes it really hard to have that conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Or what part of that doesn't make sense? Or wait, how did you live through the COVID? You're not 18, are you? Or how old are you? Can you say how old you are?
I'm 30.
Okay, so like here's the thing that I think, okay? I think that it would be fascinating to go back through the COVID time period and look at how everything was handled prospectively to see if there were better decisions that could have been made. That conversation has never and will never, maybe like 30 years in the future, maybe it'll happen, but it can't happen. Because when we talk about COVID lockdowns, it's all like New World Order, Illuminati, locking us in our homes because they had it, like that's it. There's no real conversation that can happen there. But I think there's a lot of interesting public data that we could mine epidemiologically to be like, well, you know, was the school shutdown, was that a good idea or a bad idea? You know, was should we have had a 50-state rule or not? Like, I think these are, you know, was something too long or not long enough? Should we have mandated vaccines or not? Or, you know, I think these are interesting questions. But because the conservatives are so brain broken on all of it, we can't talk about any of it. That drives me crazy.
I mean, you think you can't have these conversations with the conservatives?
No, you can't. Absolutely cannot. No.
I mean, I've had plenty of conversations with them, plenty of times, about all of these topics.
Really? Where?
On the r/conservative Discord server.
I'm curious because you're in that server now, and I'll wait a minute. Is it possible that you could Control F COVID or anything else and screenshot one of those combos and just paste it in this chat? And that combo, you're having a conversation on what should good lockdown policy have been like, where nobody brings up, well, we know that they just used it to control our lives, and we know they were just trying to close down the churches, and we know they just wanted to kill old people. Those conversations.
I know that there are people who definitely say that shit. I know there's definitely schizos who say that kind of shit and who believe the most off the wall bullshit.
Well, you say schizos, that's the mainstream conservative position.
I don't believe that's the case.
So you think the mainstream the mainstream conservative position is not that Fauci lied, people died?
I don't think that the mainstream conservative position is that, hey, like it was a pandemic and it was a lab leak on purpose and like Fauci went out there and did that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think there's schizos who believe that and they're way overrepresented, but I don't think the mainstream belief is that.
Percentage of conservatives who believe COVID was planned. Plandemic is probably one of the more extreme, but let's see.
Would hoax be a better term then?
Maybe. Well, no, plandemic and hoax are kind of the same. So,
yeah.
Same.
I don't know where this is at now. This is July 24th, 2020 data. Where are we at? Republicans. So this is saying that 48%. Wait, no, that's high school left. No, hold on. This is all U.S. adults. Wait. Definitely true. Okay. Definitely true. Probably true. Probably not true. Definitely not true. So 24% of conservatives, am I reading this correctly, believe that There's some truth that COVID-19 was planned. Even 18% of fucking liberals and Democrats were that. But 1/4, and that was back in July of 2020. Has this gotten better or worse? Oh, no, wait. I'm so...
Send it to me.
Conservative mod... Wait, cons mod. Rep, lean, rep... Wait, I'm so retarded.
Like I'll grant you...
Oh, wait, this is a conservative Democrat?
Yeah.
Hold on. Is it 34% of Republicans or lean Republican believe it? Okay, conservative, moderate Democrats. You're right. I'm sorry. So it's 18% of Democrats and it's 34% of Republicans believe that COVID-19 was planned. And that's like the more extreme version. That's crazy. And that was back in 2020.
What do they mean by planned? That study.
So this is what they give as a thing here. I don't know what the exact question asked is. We could probably try to find it. But they say, percentage of U.S. adults who think the theory that the coronavirus outbreak was intentionally planned by powerful people is ...
I mean, I would need to look into it. I mean, I don't think, from my personal experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to a lot of people. And I would agree that on the COVID conspiracy theories, conservatives have it probably worse than liberals. Obviously, right? But I don't think it would be mainstream. I think when you go online and you talk with people, it's a lot more prevalent. But I don't think it's mainstream that it was like an intentional pandemic from people in power to do whatever else.
Like the White House official website literally has publishing on like lab leak, the true origin of COVID-19. They say the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. And then they have this whole page on some of these things are just straight up lies. Like they literally have a page on how these scientific publications were lies and our fucking conspiracy theory is true. They bring up this eco-health bullshit. Dr. Peter Daszak. This is insane to me. This is a White House Talk Up website. I don't know if there are current numbers on who believes this, but I mean, we could also do the social. They even have things here. So social distancing, the 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation, which shut down schools and small business across the country, was arbitrary and not based on science. During closed-door testimony, Dr. Fauci testified that the guidance sort of just appeared. The mask mandates. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19. Public health officials flip-flopped on the efficacy of masks without providing Americans scientific data, causing a massive uptick in public distrust.
Is it coming from a lab? Like, is this suggestion that it comes from a lab, like, is like evidence of a pandemic? Does that make sense?
Not necessarily, and I don't even have necessarily an issue with people thinking that. It's that they're saying there was an intentional conspiracy to cover up the origins of it, led by Dr. Fauci. That's too much. That's a retard position.
Okay, so like obviously Fauci knew, and like he prevented the information from passing down. Like that's retarded. But like me being like maybe it came from a lab is like fine.
Maybe. I mean, I would just consider a person uninformed at that point, not like a conspiracy theorist or crazy person. But like this, Dr. Fauci arbitrarily and intentionally covering stuff up, that's the position that is on the whitehouse.gov website. So to say that this is like a conspiracy position or not mainstream, like...
Do you think Donald Trump is a radical, or do you think he's like middle of the pack?
Well, it's a kind of a begging the question thing. It's kind of hard to define that. Like, is Donald Trump a radical? I mean, definitionally, I would say in some contexts, well, yeah, MAGA is radical. But in other contexts, well, they're not radical. It's the majority opinion on the right. So it's like definitionally not radical, right?
If there was a scale of 0 being like the most liberal, 100 being like the most, I guess, conservative, natsock, whatever you want to be, where do you think Donald Trump falls in that? Just roughly.
The reason why I don't have a good
leader from another country.
Well, the reason why I don't have a good answer to this is because I actually don't think it's easy to qualify Trump there. I think Trump is just very, very, very narcissistic, and I think his narcissism is what guides most of his decisions. So like if tomorrow a poll came out that 100% of Americans wanted socialized healthcare, and all of them would think that Donald Trump is the funniest, coolest guy ever, and they'd all follow him on Truth Social, if he like did that, I think Trump would work to pass like social healthcare tomorrow. So it's hard to say. Like I think he acts like all of his actions in accordance, I think, are like in the direction of like authoritarian dictator type person. But I think that's a byproduct of his ignorance and narcissism, and not like him thinking like I'm going to be an authoritarian type leader, you know, like somebody like Stephen Miller would be. So it's hard to like put Trump because he's so stupid. It's hard to assign to him or ascribe to him like a strong.
Anywhere in the spectrum, he's just like I just want people to like me, or he just wants a particular set of people to like me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, where would you? Because like obviously he has very 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 right wing opinions, right?
Does he?
On
On
some
what?
things, but does he on what? I can't think of one that comes to mind.
Sure. I think it's really hard to because
probably
it's,
immigration.
maybe. I mean, look at the whole H-1B fiasco, right? Like he was pretty economically oriented in that, right?
Right, but like to order the border patrol and immigration and custom enforcement to deport so many people, like that would require somebody that is, I think, really, really, really committed to some form of idea about something, right?
I don't know.
Like,
I
would never see a Mitt Romney. Right?
Sure, for sure, but I don't think it's because he would want to do that.
Right.
I would have to think about this maybe a lot more, but like the reason why I just don't view it that strongly is I think that Trump is a guy who's heavily driven by his own narcissism, and I think he looks for things that he considers to be like easy wins. So like even when people like Fuentes and all these types are very quick to ascribe like Adelson or whatever, like the Jew influence on Trump, I don't actually think Trump gives a fuck about Jews. He just sees Israel as like they're always going to win, so of course he's going to back them. Like that's why. And then same thing with Ukraine, Russia. Like I don't think that Trump is necessarily like Russian oriented, or he thinks that Putin is like a good guy and he wants to be friends with Russia because he supports Russian interests. He just sees like Russia's probably going to win, and Putin like butters his goose or whatever the fuck. There's a saying there that I don't know, but yeah, that's how I view it. He's just driven. So it's like it's hard to ascribe like a particular ideology. I don't think he hates Ukraine or hates Zelensky. He just hates that like that conflict is still going on, and there's not like an easy win that he can eke out there. That's why he gets really mad at Putin when Putin starts bombing shit again after saying that they've gotten a peace deal figured out.
I mean, I can see that.
Like look at the Mamdani flip. That was just insane to me. That was so embarrassing. That Mamdani talks to him for like 5 minutes, and he's basically deep throating him, on camera afterwards. I think it's crazy.
Well, he's gonna hate Mamdani today because Mamdani completely denounced what he fucking did. So yeah, that'll be funny to watch.
How do you feel about right-wing extremism and left-wing extremism? Like,
I think they're both bad, but I think that like we see what the right wants us to see. Like left-wing extremism is bad in that the ideas are bad, but it's like not a real thing. Whereas right-wing extremism is like controlling the country. Like, who has more popular support in law right now? People like Hassan or people like Asmongold? Like, Hassan and the Tankies have gotten nothing politically for the past, 10 years, and MAGA runs everything in the government, kind of.
Well, I would say that obviously Asmongold has its problems, but it's because his spread and his influences way outpaces Hassan, right? Obviously, Hassan, if his views were as mainstream or as popular as Asmongold, I would probably argue it'd be worse.
I don't necessarily disagree, I think, but I'm just saying that in terms of like whose opinions are more proper or are more popularly represented right now in the country, it seems to be that like people like Asmongold, most of their shit is like MAGA is mainstream, right? That's what I'm saying. MAGA is mainstream. Tankies are nowhere to be found in government. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Tankies are way rarer than like MAGA.
But non-existent in government.
There's a lot of. Yeah, there's probably no. I mean, I'm sure there's some Democrats who are Tankies, but they don't necessarily own up to all those.
Really?
All that stuff. Maybe a couple, but like I don't
like
necessarily think of Tankies.
Maybe like Ellen Omar and Rashid Tlaib, maybe. But
well,
like,
obviously Tankies, we're talking about 5% versus like MAGA, which is like 35% or something, right?
Wait, what do you mean? MAGA is like half the country if they support Trump, no?
Well, I don't necessarily think that because you vote for Trump that you're MAGA, right?
I mean, if we're going to use...
I've done like political door knocking plenty of times, and many people are like, "Hey, like I fucking hate Trump, but I'm voting Republican because I feel like this way on abortion or this way on these topics." I mean, in my personal experience, it's like probably 10 to 15 to maybe even 20% of the population.
Sure. Let me just, if I'm just looking at like power in terms of control of the country right now, MAGA has a huge, what I would consider to be like the far right or extreme right has a huge influence, and the extreme left has zero influence. Do you disagree with that position?
I wouldn't say huge and zero. I would say maybe 2 or 3 times to 4 times as much of an influence. I think there's.
I would say 1,000 times. Who on the far left has any influence in American politics?
They got one mayor.
Not even, and that's even he's like reaching out.
We're talking elected officials.
Yes.
How many elected officials?
They can exercise politics in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely MAGA is way way, way, way overrepresented in that category.
Yeah,
I
not
would
4 or
agree.
3 times, but like 100 or 1,000 times.
No,
right?
I would agree. Probably 100 times. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would go on further to, like, it's not necessarily about how many elected officials you have in it. I think the Republican Party over the last 10 to 15 years has definitely gone through some kind of transformation or transfiguration, something, right, to where people from like these radical voices can like go into it. And I don't think the Democrat Party is that far behind. I think
Wait, on you're saying the far
maybe-
left can gain like notoriety or influence or whatever?
Well, I think maybe in 10 years it definitely could be the case, right? I don't think it's like I don't think just because this is the case now doesn't mean like in maybe 10 years it couldn't be completely not flipped, but it couldn't be much more equal, much more even.
I mean, it could be, but why would I even consider a hypothetical problem when I have a real problem right now?
Well, because if we went 15 years back in the past, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Nobody would have thought that the position that we're in would have been the position we are in now.
Well, sure,
Right?
but then I would just.
I think that definitely there's a radicalization.
We would have a different conversation 15 years ago. I agree with you, but but we're not 15 years ago. We're now, so I'm having the conversation now, right?
Right, but my opinion about this is that more that we happen to exist in an environment where these talking points and this argumentation would work, right? And I don't necessarily think this will always be the case, right? Definitely, I could foresee a future in which Democrats are like the far left is far more prominent than they are now.
Okay, and if that happens, then I'll talk about that.
For sure, yeah, I agree. I think that definitely the radical people on the right, like especially the anti-vaxxers, the whatever else you want to do, the pro-Jan 6thers, right, are a problem. But I don't necessarily think that Asmongold supports these things.
But he supports directionally almost everything, it seems, from the Trump admin. Like, I think that if you were to ask him today, if you could choose today after everything that's happened over a year, like in my mind, if you would still say that Donald Trump was a better choice over Kamala Harris at this point, I just think you're a deeply politically unserious person. Or like, you have to be super deep in the Trump camp to say it. And it really doesn't matter how much lip service you pay to saying you're not a Trump supporter. Like, if at this point you still believe that, after worldwide tariffs, after threatening allies to invade them, after unilaterally kidnapping a leader from a sovereign foreign country, after alligator Alcatraz, after like there's just so much stuff. Where it's
I don't want to hop between topics like crazy ADHD style. But how do you feel about the Venezuela thing?
Not good.
Briefly.
What do you? Or what kind of an
For you
opinion?
to watch the
Oh God,
Trump speech.
yeah.
That's gonna be good.
Did you watch it?
I haven't yet. No.
I mean, he basically said like, "Hey, like we're gonna take the oil, we're gonna take this country, we're gonna run it for like."
Don't ruin it for him. It's gonna be good.
My bad.
No,
Spoilers.
it's gonna be good. Yeah.
But why do you not feel good about it?
Because I think that there is, if I were to ascribe any political ideology to Trump, which I don't because I think he's just stupid, the only ideology I would ascribe to him, or the only reason I would say why he supports, kind of sort of like people like Putin, is because Trump fantasizes about this like illusory, like realpolitik type of world where what happens is if you're a strong country, you can do whatever the fuck you want to your neighbors. And if you're a weak country, you just basically have to sit there and fucking take it. And I think he likes the idea of that world because he's the leader right now of the strongest country in the world, indisputably, and undisputably the strongest country in our hemisphere. It's like not even close. So when Donald Trump does these things of deposing leaders because he thinks it's based and epic pilled, I think it's bad. I think that setting this new standard of like you can just like invade other countries and capture leaders and shit is super not good. It's not how the world should work. It leads to like an unstable world that is going to cause like bad outcomes for everybody involved.
I mean, do you think that the I guess, quote unquote, charges and the indictment are illegitimate, and do you think we should have not acted on them?
I would have to look at the particular charges. I mean, it's fucking Maduro. I don't think you'd have to fabricate anything, but like, there's just not.
Let me give you a hypothetical real quick. Like, if there was like a president of a country called Zimbabwe. Right, hypothetical country, right? And like he was like obviously pushing drugs into the United States through all these means intentionally. Do you think it's something the United States should not get involved simply because he's the president of a particular country?
I think the strongest thing you can do is build a coalition in the United Nations to take action against it. I think you need to like have a coalition of international partners and say, hey, look, we need to do something about this and build on those partnerships and then do something. We're the leader of the free world. We should be able to do this.
Okay.
You ever see the
In the
TV show?
hypothetical,
Have you ever seen
let's
have you
add
ever,
the United
wait,
Nations
have you-
doesn't exist.
Well, then it's a different world, right? Then I would say I would feel a lot differently about a lot of things. But like you've seen the show Dexter, right?
Like the first season.
Like everybody that Dexter kills like deserves to die, arguably, right? But like we don't really want a vigilante murderer out there like doing justice on his own, right?
Well, because they'll get it wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Batman's pretty good.
Good one. Yeah, because he could get it wrong, right? And I think that's like, oh, you motherfucker. I think that's Trump's big. Well, that's like a big problem, right? Is like I don't know who he's going to go after next. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what anything will look like. After Trump is done with whatever the fuck he's doing now. And I don't trust Trump to do it because Trump hasn't shown himself to have like the leadership skills or abilities to guide the country through literally fucking anything that doesn't just serve his own ends. Like what foreign policy issues has Trump shown this great level of competency in?
Well, let's say that like, hey, Trump is like, hey, Venezuela is doing X, Y, and Z, importing drugs, whatever the fuck, right? His reasonings are. So he goes to the UN and like, I guess Russia or China vetoes any kind of action that they do. I don't know the inner workings of the UN, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does the United States do then?
I mean, if it gets to a point, I'm not saying that like you can never take military action against anybody ever. I'm just saying that like that has to go like up an escalatory pathway. Like you it can't be. Am I really arguing this right now? You can't just depose leaders from foreign countries. Is that the type of world that you want to live in? Do you think it's a good thing?
Arbitrarily, no. But like, if their values align with mine, if their values align with like American values in general, then I mean, it would depend. Like, we don't want to cause like a massive exodus or problems with the country, which could cause a lot of people to die, or like food shortages. And
or
stuff,
here's a question: like, do you think we should have gotten rid of Saddam Hussein?
I mean, I don't know that much about that particular situation, but like,
let's assume that Saddam Hussein was a bad guy. Let's assume that he wasn't cooperating with UN investigators when it came for doing the investigations on weapons of mass destruction, and that he was like turning away all of the inspectors and everything. Like,
even then, I would have more questions. Like, hey, like what is the likelihood of him like gassing a bunch of more civilians in his country? What's the likelihood of him like backing terrorism against the United States, right? What's the likelihood of all these other things, right? Like, I could definitely foresee a situation where we're like,
do we even know? Like,
okay.
do we even know the percentage of drugs that come to the United States like even fucking come from Venezuela? Like, do we even know these numbers? Have these ever been put out before? Do we have any idea about this?
It's
Hey,
not
Rock.
fentanyl.
What'd you say? Oh,
I said it's not fent, which is what they were claiming.
It's probably not Fen.
so I don't even see there being like a good justification. It's not like this is like the saying of like we've tried nothing and we ran out of options.
I mean, I feel it's like my emotional opinion, right? That we should be able to go into another country that is diametrically opposed to us and be able to cause regime change. Obviously, do what is ethically is possible, right?
Sure. Well,
But
here,
I think we
let's
should
say
be
I
able to
agree with
do
you. Let's say I agree with you. Okay, if that's the case, then fine. But you have to at least make that argument to the American people. Go to Congress, get a declaration of war, whatever the fuck you need to do. Like, you should have to make you shouldn't be able to do it unilaterally, especially just as the president.
I mean, obviously, if we're talking constitutional argument, as to
No,
whether or
not
he has the right to-
constitutional.
Hold on.
No,
Well,
like
no,
morally.
I understand that, but part of talking to the American people is being elected, right? Obviously, if his platform was like American first, and we should be able to put these dictators in their place, then I would have a lot more ability to like give him some leeway. But like, obviously, he ran on the platform of no new wars, right? No,
well,
no
even
more wars
if
or whatever
you,
he said.
yeah, but I mean, you shouldn't just because you won an election doesn't give you carte blanche to do basically anything you want, as long as it conceivably fits under the slogans that you use to get elected. You should still have to make your arguments to the American people, follow the correct legal pathways, like do the things that you have obligations to do as president of the United States.
I mean, unless you think that, like, for example, inviting Congress into a conversation would lead to leaks or other information, right? Like, if Donald Trump was like, hey, like, we could go through, like, 10 committees and have 400 conversations, and then we could be sure of whatever the fuck we're doing, right? But if he's like, hey, we have this opportunity to do this thing aggressively and do it well, I feel like we elect a president to be able to do things like that. If Donald Trump, like, obviously Donald Trump's an idiot. Obviously, Donald Trump probably had this he had to make this decision, right, pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know how
I just like the
I don't
issue
know
that I
all the
have
technical
is that
things that
like,
go into
I,
it.
I agree with you on the most highest and abstract theoretical levels, but like we're talking about like imminent threat to the United States. Like if the country of Mexico was planning on launching missiles and we need like a swift and vigorous executive to make a quick snap decision, we don't have time to run through Congress and everything else, then sure. But like apparently the indictments from Maduro are like 5 years old. It's not like the Venezuelan shit is new. And then like when you look at everything else going on in the country related to the Epstein stuff, related to the tariffs, related to the inflation, related to the general unpopularity of the presidency, it doesn't really seem like this is some like, oh my God, it seems like a Hail Mary to try to like win some more approval back from the American people. Like there's a world where conceptually what you're saying is true, but as applied here is just not even remotely the case.
Trump even said today in the briefing that he had is they have been trying to do this for the past 5 days, but weather wasn't permitting. So they've known that they were going to do this exact same thing. They could have talked to Congress.
Yeah, I mean, this would be important to be like, hey, like, why didn't you talk to Congress? But I think we put a lot of importance in being the president, and I think the president should be able to make these kinds of military decisions when it comes to these things. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world for the United States to do what Donald Trump did. I mean,
it is
Obama
though.
killed how many people with drones, and we didn't consult Congress with every single.
But it was
person
in a
that
theater.
airstrikes,
It was in a
right?
theater where we had the authorization for the use of military force across the Middle East to fight terrorism. Like we had the
Congress
president
approved of it.
Yes, the UAMF. Yeah, there was broad authority for the president. That's why they never challenged him on his authority to do it. They just will complain about it afterwards, but he had the authority to do that. Biden did. Trump did.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump has the authority to do what he did.
I don't think the UAMF applied to South America. I think the UAMF specifically called out.
I don't think it does either, but I definitely do think that the president has the ability to take military action within a certain time period.
The president of the United States has the authority to kidnap foreign leaders if drugs are being exported from their country and ours.
Do you think that the president of the United States has the authority to engage in limited military interaction?
For sure, even unapproved by Congress.
And do you think the United States has the ability to engage in law enforcement across like international lines?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think the DEA, for example, could go to another country where somebody ran away to extradite someone, to take them into custody and extradite them?
No. And that's not what extradition is. Extradition is the other country doing it. And if you did that, you get killed. There's no way. That's why those are like special ops, like black site missions. If you're going into another country to grab somebody, yeah, you can't do that.
Well, real quick, how do you feel about like the Mossad going into like Argentina and other countries and just basically taking them and just like bringing them back to Israel for trial after the crimes of the Holocaust?
Were these like kidnappings, or I mean, if they did it, my guess is
They basically were.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Mossad does stuff like that, like assassinations of other leaders and shit, where they would be like contraindicated by international law and everything. But I think they do that, right? Yeah. Are you? But I'm guessing that's a boring answer. I'm describing it. You're asking me like, is it morally acceptable? I think it's a little bit more difficult to evaluate Israel's position there because the threat to their country is greater than any threat to America, and their status as an existing country and as a only country for Jewish people is like a little bit more peculiar or special. Like if the United States was legitimately being threatened by like an enemy and it was like represented a dire real threat to the United States, then like I said before, I think we want a swift and vigorous executive that can do something. I wouldn't necessarily be as opposed to it. That's why I'm saying on like the broadest, most abstract level, I don't disagree with you, but as applied to these circumstances, not even close. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of agree with the reason, or not the reasons he did it, but I agree with what he's doing, right? Obviously, to secure Venezuela, secure their natural resources for the United States. I mean, I agree with these sorts of things, especially when it's a hostile regime. In general, I would be in favor of turning nearby hostile regimes
so if we just start invading every country in South America, if we do Colombia next, Cuba next, you'd be okay with all of that, deposing, kidnapping all of those leaders, collecting them like Pokemon cards, and just stashing them in U.S. prisons while we install our own regimes there?
Well, no, the best possible route, right, to consider that these people, hey, all of these countries could potentially be enemies if we do it the wrong way, right? To go about it in an intelligent way, to basically do regime change to the ones who are hostile and support the ones who are friendly.
Intelligent way implies like soft power things, not kidnapping foreign leaders of sovereign countries.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think an intelligent way, showing overwhelming force in a situation, could definitely deter other hostile players in the area from being hostile. Right?
I disagree. I think what it does is I think it creates a new set of rules, and it puts everybody a little bit more on notice in a really bad way. Like I don't know where you stand on this. Hopefully you're not crazy or whatever. But like, there are some people who think that like Charlie Kirk was assassinated by, I've heard from the Russians to the Mossad to the French to everything else. I'm sure you've heard these conspiracy
He
theories,
was
right?
obviously assassinated by the Jews. Right?
True, yeah. But like, this is a thing where like on its face, it's so ridiculous of a theory because other countries like it would not be staging assassinations like this in the United States of America, especially on a U.S. national. This would just be so crazy for so many different, because now everybody would be like, oh shit, like I don't know if the United States is about to start killing my people. But now like if you're a U.S. president, do you have to be careful, like, the countries you're going to? Like, could people just start fucking kidnapping you? Or, like, are world leaders now going to be wondering, like, am I safe to travel to the United States? Or can I go to countries that are out? Like, that just gets really weird. You're creating this really hostile environment that is going to make everybody less trustworthy of each other, and it's going to hurt towards any type of international coalition building. It's just really bad to rewrite international rules like this. This is my same thing with, like, Russia invading Ukraine and taking territories. Like, you're not supposed to do this type of stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's problems with it. Obviously, the critique that Putin levied at Trump being like, hey, like, you can't just invade a sovereign country and blah, 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 that I saw on Twitter, which is definitely true. Like, I would say that to take a step back from everything, right? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to go up to somebody and be like, hey, like, you're a shitty leader, fix your shit or we're going to come after you because you're diametrically opposed to my set of values. I don't think this is, like, the worst thing in the world. In fact, I would go as far to say that, like, hey, if there's a leader, especially in your sphere of influence, that is opposed to your goals in the region, especially when, like, for example, I agree with the values that country has, that we can't take actions against it.
No, you keep generalizing. We can take actions, and we should. And you should fight with people for like job promotions, and you should fight with people to outperform them, to get top rankings in your classrooms in school or whatever. But that doesn't mean you can just start killing people because you don't like them. Like, there are rules to this, and the reason why these rules exist is because we want them to be reciprocated. Because we want a world where we agree how we're supposed to fight each other. We don't want a world where it's like winner take all. The most powerful person is the one who wins, because this is just like a world of infinite 9/11s and shit. Where it's like, okay, well, I guess we're just like mass terrorists attacking everybody now because the United States thinks that they can just do whatever the fuck they want because they've got the power over us.
Like, I see what you're saying, but do you think that these people abide by our set of morals, our set of standards? Like, do you think just because we have or haven't done something that they will abide by those set of norms?
To some extent, absolutely, yes. Like, as crazy as like Venezuela or whatever is, I don't think Maduro would be like assassinating like random U.S. citizens. That's like a one-way trip to hell. And
well, he probably doesn't have the capabilities.
He absolutely could. There are American citizens in Venezuela, of course. You could be killing these random people or imprisoning them indefinitely or torturing them in Canada. Of course you could.
India did it to Canada.
We did it to Venezuelans. We're like capturing them and imprisoning them and torturing them.
No, I'm saying if Maduro wanted, there are American citizens in Venezuela right now that he could do that to, but they would never just do
You're
U.S.
giving the example of like, we're not doing this, they're not doing this, therefore they're bound by our set of standards.
Well, no,
like,
because
I think they're not doing this because of a real politique reason. They're like, hey, we're not going to torture random fucking American citizens because that's going to give Americans a casus belli to come in with fucking literally everything that they have and butt fuck us.
Exactly, but the real politique thing here is a bit more extrapolated than you realize, because you're saying that the real politique is actually following international set of norms, right? I'm not going to do this because if I do this, then I know what America will do this. Well, then, so we shouldn't do it because we're showing that we're willing to follow some like set of rules, right? As long as you don't do this, we're not going to do this. But if we start doing it, well, then the real politique math changes because now they're going to do it, right? If Americans start capturing and abducting fucking foreign leaders, then fuck, maybe we should engage in ABC, XYZ behavior.
So you think that the fact that America, like, I guess, stole Maduro, that like all these other countries around the world are going to be like, hey, this ambassador in this country, we could totally steal him for like political points?
Potentially, but the thing is, it's hard because Trump is doing so much extremely crazy radical shit. Like, I don't think this all changes overnight, but it definitely starts to build on those arguments. Yeah, for sure. When a country does a bad, and then another country wants to do a bad, and then the international community goes to that other country and say, why are you doing it bad? Of course that other country points to other people and go, well, look what they're doing. Fuck you, right? You want to build, this is why you have to be able to build like an international coalition and consensus around some things. But when your own behaviors betray the standards you're trying to enforce, then you have less moral authority internationally to do things, and people are less likely to follow you in on those things.
But what if we don't need international consensus?
But we do. It's important to like work with the world. We can't do everything on our own. We're a very interconnected world.
In a world where we didn't need international consensus, we wouldn't need to abide by.
Then potentially in a totally different type of on a different planet where there's like just one master country, maybe it would look a lot different. But right now, I think we have a good incentive to want to work with other people and to be a friend to most other countries. Yeah, I think that benefits us.
I don't think stealing Maduro is going to cause any European countries to not agree with us on matters like Ukraine or Russia or like China. I don't think the kidnapping Maduro is going to make any of the South American countries less likely to like us. In fact, I think it would be more to force them more likely to agree to what we want to do to them. Right?
Like imagine some other country like decides to like fucking Panama. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know the relationship between these countries down there. But imagine some country, Argentina or whatever, decides that they're going to capture the Colombian leader, and now you've got like local conflict starting because these people have decided, oh, I guess this is all on the fucking table now. So let's go crazy with it. Like, wouldn't that be a worse world? Wouldn't that be less stable and more unpredictable? I just said the same thing twice.
I don't think a single person that would go and try and kidnap the Colombia leader would have in their mind, oh, America did it, therefore I think it's okay that I do it.
I think they will. I think they
people
absolutely
in Michigan
do.
who try to kidnap the fucking governor, and they're fucking random schizos. Like, and this was like 4 years ago.
Well, but like, why did those people think they had the authority to? Because the Democrats were trying to destroy the country and steal the elect. Like, people build on this. This is why people rewrite history so much, is to give people the moral authority to do whatever the fuck they think it is that they want to do, right? That's why rewriting history is so important. It's because it feels like it gives people the authority to do whatever.
I think there's infinite reasons to do something. I think that any schizo who wants to do some crazy ass bullshit is going to find a reason.
I agree with you, but we're not talking about any schizo. We're talking about leaders of countries that we expect to act a bit more rationally and self-interested.
Well, so for example, are you saying that obviously we're talking about some random guys trying to kidnap the leader of Colombia. Is he a random schizo or is he the leader?
I wasn't talking about random guys. I'm talking about leaders of countries looking to do it.
So like what, Panama kidnaps the president?
Sure, or Millet or whatever the fuck, maybe, yeah.
Okay, so the president of Argentina kidnaps Colombia's president because America kidnapped Venezuela's president. Do you think this is in any way, shape, or form likely in any way?
Likely, no, but it's more likely now than it was before, for sure. You don't think that when people look at the United States doing a thing and they see the celebration and they think the United States thinks it's acceptable, that if they could gain some huge favor with the United States, you don't think they would do it?
I think that doing something that the United States makes you, like, for example, if the United States does a thing and they're like, hey, hell yeah, this is super cool, and then you do it to get favor with the United States, absolutely, right?
Yes.
But to say that, like, hey, I'm diametrically opposed with the United States, like, I'm a hypothetical communist Argentina, and I want to kidnap Chile's capitalist president, because the United States kidnapped Venezuela's president, I can go and kidnap Chile's president, and, like, they'll think it's good or something. I don't think that's the case.
Well, it's that they have like a stronger authority to do it. So like there's two ways that this work out. One is that people who are trying to curry favor with the U.S., maybe they could start looking to do things like this because they know that the U.S. will reward them for it. Or two, maybe somebody does this in some South American country, and then we look at that and we say, well, this is bad, and we go to the UN or NATO or whatever. We're like, I don't know, not NATO, maybe the UN. We're like, hey guys, we need to do something about this. It's not okay. Like other countries in the UN are going to look at us and be like, well, motherfucker, you guys are literally doing the same shit. Like, what the fuck do you want us to do about this? Like, why we would have a much weaker moral authority to go and challenge these actions because we're literally doing them ourselves.
I think it's much more likely that like weaker nations would be disincentivized for being uppity and annoying if the United States is going at them with like fucking a hammer to their head every single time they fucking pop up. I think it's much more likely the case that like, hey, Argentina, we want to kidnap Chile's president because of blah 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 reasons. Like, we probably shouldn't because the United States is run by a fucking dumbass who could fucking blow our fucking brains out at any fucking point, kidnap us, and do whatever the fucking on the USS Iwo Jima, right? I think that's
well. Donald Trump has been Donald Trump has been threatening stuff with Maduro for how long? Did it seem like it affected any of his actions at all?
I think for the last 6 months it's all been intentional, probably.
What has been intentional? Maduro wanted to get kidnapped, or?
Oh, no, not Maduro wanted to be kidnapped, but the obvious buildup over the last 6 months or so to get something done in Venezuela. Obviously, the rhetoric Trump has been putting out, the buildup of U.S. forces in the area, it's my opinion that we definitely did strikes on Venezuela's capital to get him to move, and that's when we apprehended him, right? This whole thing was a ploy to get to that point, right?
Okay, so you think in your version of the world, it should literally just be everybody just taking it should just be all like strongest countries bullying weakest countries, and that's a better world than the one we live in now. If you want to take land or depose leaders or do whatever you need, so like if China were to invade Taiwan, you'd say, well, I mean, they have the right to do that. Or if Russia wants to take over all of Ukraine and then invade, Poland next, well, Russia should have the ability to do that. You'd say, like, well, it is what it is.
No, not necessarily. my opinion is that I have a set of values that I think are the best, and I have different reasons to believe in those sets of values. And I definitely think that we should support things like the United States because they have a set of values that are really good. Their institutions are
Hold on,
great.
we're not talking about just supporting. We're talking about, like, you can be opposed to a thing. Like, I have a set of values, and there are values against mine that I'm opposed to. But just because I'm opposed to something doesn't mean that I feel like I have the moral authority to take the strongest possible action to prevent those things from coming to fruition. Like, I'm opposed to Christianity. I think religion is cringe, but I don't think I should be able to ban Christianity in the United States or kill Christians.
So I would have a position, and I would have a set of values, and I should take actions to maximize the most amount of people, to take their own actions to create a society that I think is most ideal in general, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, right, and so I definitely think that, hey, like, there's this very clearly crazy guy in South America, and I think that putting his head on a pike is like super based and omega pilled because nobody else would be against me in the long term, and then we can fund all the people against like that are in favor of him, fund against them the whole time throughout all of South America, and through this action I can deter a whole bunch of shit. I think that's kind of good.
Can we shouldn't we be able to make that argument then to everybody else? Why do we have to do it on our own secret? At the very least, can't we make this argument to the American people? If it's so obviously a good action for us, but Trump didn't. He did it unilaterally from the executive without even going to any committee in Congress or anything else.
Listen, I'm not Trump. I don't know what's going through Trump's head. There's probably a lot of things going on, but all I know is that Trump did something that's mega poggers, and I like it, and it's PogChamp. And even if Trump did it for the opposite reasons, right, I'm still in favor of this action. If Trump is like, actually, I'm a secret leftist, and I just want leftism to be blah, whatever the fuck, right? The point is Trump did something that's mega poggers, I like it, and that's why I like Trump. And Asmongold, he's super good, even though his taste in transmogs is dog shit.
Okay. So at this point, you would be okay if Donald Trump tomorrow announced that he was going to invade and depose every single leader from every country that opposes U.S. interests in South America. You'd say, well, that's okay. It's good for that.
No, because I think it would have a negative effect overall.
But deposing one leader and kicking him out of his country won't have a negative effect overall.
Right. So, like, let's say I'm playing Risk, right? A board game, and I'm playing against 7 other people, and I'm immediately like, hey, fuck all of you, I'm gonna kill all of you, blah 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 blah, and I go off. Obviously everyone's probably gonna single me out and come after me, but like, if I can go after, hey everybody, this one guy's the problem, and if I can go after the next guy, hey, this guy's the problem, and eventually it leads me to dominating the whole board, that's probably the best way to do it. Obviously him like saying, hey, by the way, like 3/4 of the world, you're all our permanent enemies forever and always, and we're all gonna invade you, is probably the dumbest fucking thing he could probably do.
Like he is with the tariffs?
Yeah, like he is with the tariffs.
Or like he is when he threatened to invade Canada or Greenland or Panama?
Absolutely. Like he's dumb as fuck when it comes to Greenland, Panama, and Canada. Mashallah.
All right.
Well, no, hold on.
Yo.
This is a retarded opinion. You must recognize this is a stupid opinion.
That we should push American values? Or at least.
Wait, why are you saying it like that? Hold on. Do you think I should be able to rape a woman?
Probably not.
Okay, is sex bad?
Probably not.
Okay, should I be able to rape a woman?
Probably not.
Okay, is sex bad? Do you see why you keep... I don't know why you keep doing this. You keep doing this, you retreat to the most lukewarm, tepid position of like, we should be able to support American values. I agree with that. We should. Like, USAID is a good way to support American values that we trashed in this administration. Like, I agree that supporting American values is good. That doesn't mean deposing foreign leaders and kidnapping them and exercising regime change in relatively stable countries.
What was your question?
This is like obviously a bad thing that the United States has now just said that if we don't like you, we can depose you. It makes the entire world, even from a U.S. interested point of view, a little bit worse. And potentially way worse if we continue down this pathway. And it's not pushing American values. It's making everything worse. We're not going to gain a lot by deposing Maduro. We're never going to be fucking taking oil from this fucking country.
Okay, I mean, I could totally see it in a different way. I definitely see it as like, hey, if you're a socialist, communist, and anti-capitalist regime, you're gonna get the wrath of the Americans on your doorstep, right? I definitely see that as a generally good thing. If you're an autocrat and you bully your own people, you should probably
Wouldn't an autocratic socialist be like Donald Trump taking stakes in American businesses and only allowing certain social media platforms to exist because they're favorable to him, even if it's overriding U.S. law, like when he got rid of the TikTok ban because he thought TikTok was friendly towards him, or when he's using the FCC to bully political opponents off the air? Like, aren't you describing Trump there?
What was one thing at a time?
Why is Donald Trump having the United States take positions in U.S. companies like Intel or U.S. Steel?
Why is the United States having what is it?
Why are we having stakes or positions in companies like U.S. Steel or the other one I just said?
Why do we have stakes in U.S. Steel?
Intel or whatever.
For national security reasons, or probably.
Okay, so everything is excusable. Okay.
Well, not necessarily.
Yes,
Things are
yes,
definitely,
no,
there are
everything
some
is
things that are
excusable.
gonna-
Everything is excusable to you. You're always going to have a reason. National security, president, U.S. interest. There's nothing that he can't not do that you wouldn't have an excuse for or some reason why it's okay. I don't know why you just said you're against socialism. If I could say, what about socializing some things? You say, well, if it's for national security, it's good, meaning Trump did it, then you'd be okay with it. So you have no values or no positions or no
depend.
principles on any of these things. What is the national security interest of a 10% stake in Intel or U.S. Steel?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know about that one specific example, right?
You don't know
But
the
I could
United
definitely
States
think of
government is taking official, has positions, owns equity, I guess, non-voting shares or whatever, of two of huge U.S. companies. It was dominated the news for at least a month when this happened. You don't know anything about this? You've never heard of this before?
I have not.
Okay.
Classic.
And then
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying, but I don't know anything about the United States taking positions in U.S. Steel and a whole bunch of other things. I mean, I know about I think there was an antitrust thing with U.S. Steel in the 50s. I don't think.
No. This is under Trump.
We're talking about.
But okay. If the United States had taken a 10% stake in Intel or U.S. Steel, is that kind of like a weird socialist autocratic thing?
It's like a publicly traded company, and they're buying it with U.S.
Well, they're using the Biden CHIPS Act fund, I think, to say they now have a 10% ownership thing in it. So,
I mean, maybe I could see that.
okay, what's your problem with socialism then?
What's my problem with socialism? I don't think all of socialism is bad. I definitely think a socialist society where there's no capital ownership, there's no private ownership. I think that's probably not a good overall design for the society. I think that leads to a whole lot of issues.
Do you think there's issues when the president of the United States, his friends, are starting to have control over large swaths of American society? So maybe this is in the form of his, was it Eric Trump's company got like a $700 million contract from the DOD?
Like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk.
Or
and Twitter
Elon
and
Musk,
like
yeah.
That, or, yeah.
Isn't this kind of bad?
Yeah, obviously, there's an issue with that. It's a consolidation of power that I would hope to not have.
Okay.
I would wish to not have.
But it's happening more under Trump than any other, at least in our lifetime, president.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and Trump acts more autocratically than any other president as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how is it that the United States is putting out a signal that if you're an autocratic socialist regime, we're going to depose your leadership when Trump is the most autocratic quasi-socialist leader we've had in 30 years?
Well, I don't think it even pairs in comparison to the governments that we're addressing that we have issues with. We'll look at the Maduro or Chavez regime, and they basically nationalized the entire oil and natural gas industries under Chavez, right? And I think that that not only causes your country a whole bunch of fucking harm, and you're automatically autocratic to an insane degree from that. Not to mention the amount of the billions of dollars worth of theft from the American economy.
I agree with all of this, and I think it's worse there. But just because Trump hasn't been in office for as long, so Trump has the entire strength and power of centuries of the U.S. economy behind him, so he can't destroy it all at once. But Trump is doing what would be a Maduro wet dream, right? The idea that he's the sole gatekeeper of tariffs. He's doing econ policy, not even from the executive branch, just from the White House. So if you're a corporation and you want to do something, you've got to go to Trump and grovel for reprieve from the tariffs. He's the sole negotiator on every trade deal with every other country around the world, things that Congress should be doing. His own children are involved heavily in a lot of different businesses across U.S. society. He's friends with all these other oligarchical tier rich people who are controlling social media
for sure.
or other.
I agree with you. Trump obviously has a lot of issues going for him, but if we're talking about a matter of scale, Trump, America will exist after Trump is gone, right? I think that Trump being the worst of the worst doesn't necessarily mean that I don't support Trump. I mean, I voted for him, but I don't necessarily Trump is the best thing, right?
But you thought he's better than Harris. When he's moving the country in a worse direction than Harris would be in basically every conceivable metric.
I think some of Harris's economic questions, especially the unclaimed gains tax, whatever the fuck that's called, are stupid. I think that's problematic. I definitely think that Trump's tariffs are also super fucking problematic.
Sure, but the
I don't
difference
think
is
Harris would have taken decisive.
Harris would have never been able to pass her wealth tax, right? Because she would have gone through Congress, and Congress would have said no because it's a retarded idea. So that would have never happened. But Trump can do anything he wants to do because he doesn't believe in democracy or rule of law. He just does it from the White House.
Yeah, probably Trump cares a lot about. I'm sure there's a lot of things Trump wants to do that he probably hasn't been able to do.
This administration, I think he's doing almost anything he wants to do. For the first admin, I would agree, but this time he realizes he needed a bunch of people who didn't believe in rule of law.
He I guess a military guy, the president from another country. I think he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
the president. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's like the worst thing in the world. I'm
not asking if it's the worst thing in the world, but I'm saying that like even economically, like nothing Harris would have done would be to the equivalent of like the Trump tariff shit.
Yeah, I mean, if she got everything she wanted and Trump got everything he wanted, obviously Harris would have been worse. But whether or not Harris could have gotten what she wanted, she probably wouldn't have. You're probably right.
No, she definitely wouldn't have. I don't know why we're comparing these things. Trump rules like an autocrat, and Democrats rule like democracy believers, right? Biden got legislation passed to do the things that he wanted to do. Harris was the vice president. Why would we expect Harris to be much different? Donald Trump tried to be autocratic in his first admin, but he didn't realize that he needed other autocrats to do it. So all of his cabinet were kind of like saying, hey, bro, you're fucking crazy. This time he got a cabinet that was willing to go along with this crazy shit, and now he's doing whatever he wants. So like the things that Harris would have been able to pass, I imagine would be comparable to what was going on under Biden. I think Biden's first term, if it was an indication of Harris's term, I just don't know like in what world would Trump be outpacing Harris realistically.
Yeah, to be honest, when the election happened, I wasn't thinking as to whether or not Harris would have been able to accomplish her goals. I said like Harris wants this, Trump wants this. Wow, Harris's thing is super fucking dumb and bad. Like that's kind of stupid.
You don't think it's kind of stupid to just evaluate things based on campaign slogans or so if a president came up and he was like, I'm going to make every single person in the country rich, you would automatically vote for that guy without even thinking about it?
No, I think it goes more deep than that, right? Obviously, you have to do some kind of critical thinking. Obviously, you're a high IQ individual that watches Rick and Morty, and so me too, right? Obviously, if it's a super basic claim that like, hey, everyone's going to be a billionaire and no one's going to have to need anything. Obviously, this is a claim that is like,
okay, a wealth tax is also
stupid.
like we're never doing a wealth tax.
But
in
if
the
you're
United
like,
States.
hey, I want to. What was that?
We're never doing a wealth. I hate wealth taxes more than anybody, more than any of you guys. I hate wealth taxes, but like this has never even come into my mind as a possibility. There's no world where Harris gets a wealth tax passed. It's just never happened. I know anybody that knows anything about e-commerce finance in the U.S. is never happening. It would be an impossible to pass thing on the Democratic side. Now, if Trump wanted a wealth tax, Trump could probably do it because he would find some way to do it from the executive branch.
I think a wealth tax would be political suicide for him. Obviously, he probably, let's say hypothetically, it wasn't political suicide and he wanted to do it. He could probably force a way through to do it.
Sure.
Because he's anti whatever, you know. But as of right now, I think if Trump ran on the platform of a wealth tax, I think that he wouldn't have been able to do it in their current climate. If Trump and Harris both had the exact same platform, I don't think Trump or Kamala would have been able to do it. I think it would both be political suicide.
I mean, Trump's platform is basically just tariffs.
Oh, Trump's platform is...
And deport, anybody brown.
Yeah, tariffs and deport the Browns.
Okay.
My overall, I guess, final statement, I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing in the world. In fact, I think it's actually pretty good to go after hostile world leaders, anti-American world leaders that are against their values. Depose them, I guess kidnap them, that's not the most ideal thing, but to go after them and stop them from being able to do what they do. I think that's completely fair and normal, and I was sitting there in my gamer chair.
So were you upset when Trump said no new wars then, when he was running on that? You were like, no, we need more wars.
Yeah, because I'm a neocon, and I was like, yeah, I do want new wars. I do want, I don't think we should have left Afghanistan or Iraq.
Sure. I don't know why you say neocon. Really, like even a neocon wouldn't have supported the unilateral deposing of Maduro in this way with no backing from Congress.
Okay, maybe that doesn't make me a neocon, but I do think I would support the deposing of Maduro or other autocrat leaders, and especially anti-American leaders in South America.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the chat. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, mashallah.
And you got unblocked, so
yeah, I'm gonna send you more DMs. All right,
that's big for you. All right, do you want to do another, or do you want to listen to the Trump speech?
I don't know. What does chat want? Do a poll.
Slash vote. Trump speech or more call in. Oh, there you go. Rin looks it up. I think you do speech, and I think we, pick these call-ins up tomorrow again.
Okay.
Oh, good. Now, I need you, when you're listening to this speech, you gotta be the strongest warrior you've ever been, because I'm telling you right now, you're gonna want a Fed post more than you've ever wanted to. But we're trying to get you remonetized here.